How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's Friday night and it's time to party. It's going to be good. We got a Domination tournament going down. I'm wide awake for once on stream. And we do have our first best of three here in the top four. So let's take a look. First match, it's going to be Batman. His name is quite long. It's a Neil Batman Freak facing off against Dactor. So we're going to kind of, shrink it down a little bit to just Batman. And, of course, if you're a fan of Batman, probably not too bad being called Batman. And Dactor is going to be on the other side. Dactor, of course, a long-time Total War Warhammer 2 veteran. Just getting back into Warhammer 3 with the upcoming patch and has made it to the top four. So looking at the bracket today, I believe the bottom side is not yet decided. Yeah, so we have Batman versus Dactor on the top, and then we have Enticity versus To Be Determined, the ultimate foe of foes. Although we can take a little look at the tail of the tape for the tournament. Yes. How's it going? So, I do not believe Enticity has his opponent yet. Let's look on the top four, see who's going to be there. Nope, it is still in the process. So up here you can see we do have Batman Freak versus Dactor. And then ODM Enticity is going to be facing the winner of Traitor GG and Stingers 1, 2, 3. So that is the run there. Now back on the main website, looking at the leaderboard, I believe the Platypus played and got eliminated earlier on, but still holding a very strong number 3 spot now. The individual who probably has the most to gain for winning today's tournament would be Enticity, because that would actually put him up to number 2 on the leaderboard. He would be taking the number 2 spot and would be threatening Void Laws up at number 1, of course, just in pure tournament wins, which carry a lot of weight. So certainly some interesting narratives as we go forward, but thank you all for joining once again. It's good to be back. Hey, how's everyone doing? Brian Cheney, I'm hyped on Mountain Dew, I wish. I don't really drink soda too much. Yeah, I haven't done soda in a long time. I think the sodas I really like are probably just like a basic like ginger ale. I think ginger ale is probably like the best. Yeah, it's pretty good for sure. The Nomi says, I saw your name pop up on a Grevy Warcraft 3 game. Everyone agreed you are a wonderful, wonderful bro. Oh, that's very cool. Was I playing? Or was it during one of his streams? I don't think so. I haven't played Warcraft 3 in a long time. So if there was a Turin there, it must have been somebody else. But appreciate that, man. Thank you. Medi saying, I got knocked out in the first round. Hey, no worries. It could happen to anyone. And on top of that, I believe the individual who knocked you out, if I remember the brackets correctly, was someone who is like in the top 4 right now. So, it's good. Balance in 1.1 is certainly better, but it's really tricky to gauge it because the armies are bigger in general, and certain armies get better or worse as armies get larger or smaller. Like some armies are really good on a smaller scale and some are better on a bigger scale. So balance has been changed quite a bit, which is I think why Creative Assembly took a little bit more of a passive approach as it pertains to balancing. Like they didn't do too much because I think they wanted to see how it kind of shakes out with armies being bigger. Almost 2,000 gold bigger for your starting army. So it's very, very different. Very, very different. It was during one of his streams. Right on. Very cool. You're an RTS legend. Hey, I'm trying, man. I'm the old boomer. And we have Ogre Kingdoms versus Khorne in the first game, which is going to be quite a bit of fun. I've always enjoyed this matchup. I think now that the Ogres have had their nerfs to Gorgers as well as Iron Blasters, I actually feel this matchup is okay. I think it's still slightly Ogre favored if you're at like the highest level. But I think it's like maybe like a 55-45, 60-40 worst case, which is very doable for Khorne, right? And Dactor, of course, is a very, very high-level player, so I'm sure he'll be able to do some good work. And yeah, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. Enticity with his 100% win rate should have his own Warhammer 3. Yeah, he does have a 100% win rate, but you have to remember he's only played in one event. So if he can maintain a 100% win rate after like playing in like 3 events, then we're talking, even 2, which he might be able to do today. He did defeat the number 2 player on the tournament leaderboard today. He defeated Evenstar in one of the earlier rounds. I don't know about the nature of the game, what was picked, etc., but I'm sure it was a very, very heated match, to say the least. Hey, the lovely wife is here. She's outside enjoying the nice weather, reading a book out in the backyard. Life's good. The smoking hot wife. And it looks like the match is ready. So it is going to be Dactor facing off against Batman Freak. Call him Batman for short, because saying that whole name every single time I want to articulate something that's going on would be a little bit tricky. Now for the Ogre Kingdoms, it's going to be a Slaughtermaster, it looks like, backed up by double Man-Eater Pistol. Very, very standard, right? Hunter, I would imagine it's going to be on a Stonehorn. Yeah, that big boy is going to be on a Stonehorn. They're a little bit undercosted, so I think the Stonehorns could use a slight cost increase, but it's not a huge deal. We do have a couple Ogre Bulls, some Saber Tusks, and Noblars to grab objectives, and Khorne is going to be going for a Herald plus double, I believe, of the Cultists, which is just so standard. The Cultists of Khorne are shielded, really good fighters. Like, I think double Cultist is pretty much mandatory if you're playing Nurgle, if you're playing Khorne. Slaanesh, it's a little bit different. They're good fighters, but they're not like quite like a staying power type unit. I don't think the double cultist is like super meta for Slaanesh, but for Nurgle and Khorne, I feel like it is. I feel like you're really doing yourselves a bit of a disservice if you don't bring both those units. But I do like the build. I do like the build indeed. Can Warhammer 2 factions play this yet? Not yet, but hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. It's going to be amazing. I'm just going to be playing the Empire every single day and trying to master them in domination mode and all. Dude, trying to know every single matchup is going to be crazy. Yeah, it's going to be nuts. Like, imagine that. We have 23 factions in the game, just absolute insanity. Man, really going to be wild. So, we do have the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw, like I said, and Man-Eater Pistols are pretty much good against the entire Khorne roster. Like, Hounds and, well, Flesh Hounds can really chew through them relatively well, but, you know, basic Hounds and Furies, it's going to take a while. They're really, really good fighters because at the end of the day, they're just Man-Eaters, which are a really fighty unit who do happen to have pistols, and they do some good work. So we got the Hunter in the bushes. It is going to be some Saber Tusk packs. And now for the Great Dactyr. Dactyr is going to be coming in with Chaos Warriors of Khorne as well as a Herald of Khorne. He does have 2 cultists with Justice Summons. Pretty much all you want to be bringing, and Spawn. So Spawn Halberd was very much the meta against Ogres pre-update, pre-patch. And I still think it's very good. Although I think now that Gorgers aren't as good, you can just purely spam Warriors. I think Warrior spam is crazy good. You just go with like a really cheap Lord and you bring like a ton of Warriors, a ton of halberds and dual weapons, and you just push. The Spawn, you know, are a little bit easier to isolate for Ogre Kingdoms, but like they of course do very well. 190 weapon strength against the Ogres is super, super good. Enticity says, so many to learn, but lots of time to do so. Yeah, it's going to be the thing. It's going to be really fun, Enticity, just sitting and theory crafting builds, and the meta is going to be so exciting compared to what we have now. Granted, you know, it's gotten better after the patch. I think the bigger starting armies plus the you know, some of the balance we saw is huge, and new maps. And that was something like Dactyr, the individual who's playing Khorne right now. He had said to me in the past, he's like, I really don't like domination mode, the small armies and the maps. But in today's tournament, he actually made a comment before we started. He's like, this is actually, like, he's having fun. This is great. He likes the new maps. He likes the bigger starting armies. He says it feels more like Total War. So, and he was someone who I believe was a very firm proponent of like anti-domination, you know, preferring land battles. But, you know, seeing him come around is certainly, I think, a sign that the future is going to be bright as long as Creative Assembly keeps giving us some good maps and, you know, we get the old world within the next few months. That'd be cool. Yeah, this new map is great, Ryan. It's so good. It's so good. So Cultists of Khorne are on foot. They're not on horseback. Typically, you see them on horseback here, I think. And the big stone horn able to get in and do some damage against Chaos Warriors, but those guys are pretty quick. Look at that, man. They got 44 speed, almost catching that Hunter right there. It looks like some of the Khorne dogs may be thinking about doing the dirty. And I believe we're going to be having a Hound battle up here, or the Hound versus the Cat. The Saber Tusk's going to be running away from the Flesh Hounds. Flesh Hounds do win in a vacuum. But obviously, if these overextend into the Saber Tusk territory and Dactyr decides to commit them there, I mean, that's going to be pretty bad. They're going to get wrecked by the Ogres and just the sheer numbers. Maybe he's doing this on purpose to kind of distract the Ogre army. I'm not sure. No, it looks like some of the Khorne dogs are being pulled back now, as the forces of Khorne are going to be moving onto objectives across the map. So over on 3, we do see the Chaos Spawn being sent over there. A bit of an interesting choice. Usually you'll see infantry instead of, you know, big monsters, troops, and whatnot. The Khorne army is not going to be taking a head-on fight. Granted, I think they can, but opting to just kind of play the side objectives and wait for them to open up before they really engage, avoiding a lot of the Man-Eater pistols. Damage value pretty much negligible at this point. We've seen about 450 from Batman, and it looks like Dactyr is at about 150, give or take. So, should be good. Yeah, Jeffrey in chat making a great comment. It's not that we're just getting the old world factions, but there also is going to be like other DLCs and stuff. Yeah, like probably like Chaos Dwarves, and I don't know. I would imagine they'll eventually do like, you know, Middenheim, Tilia, Stalia, you know, what is the Vampire Bretonian faction? It's been Musion. Like, I bet you we could get all that stuff, which is going to be so, so awesome. So Spawn moving in. Spawn going to be surging up the hill, attacking the Hunter, getting a little bit of damage for sure. And here comes a big blob fight. Now, the Ogres, of course, not committing their full army. Dactyr actually going to be doing a 2-pronged attack here. So he does have his Spawn and Hounds flanking into the Ogre Bulls. And man, look at these Khorne dogs just tearing through these Ogre Bulls. I did not expect them to do that kind of damage. In response, Batman Freak is going to be summoning some Gorgers. And of course, Gorgers aren't what they used to be, but still are a very, very good unit. And the Chaos Spawn of Khorne get a very good fight. They block up the old Man-Eaters and do occupy some of the Ogre Bulls here, so they're pretty much hitting the ideal targets. Now, damage value is pretty even at this point. We're going to be seeing the first Bloodletter summon coming out from the Cultist while the Herald of Khorne leads the charge, and the big Hunter does move in, but a little bit dangerous. 2 Cultists plus the Herald of Khorne there could do some very, very big damage for sure. Now, down here, objectives have opened up, so Objective 1 not going to be taken by anyone. It is being fought over. Objective 3 is open at this point. So Khorne was looking to do a little bit of a dual-pronged attack by Dactyr, which I think is very, very cool. And personally, for myself, I'm a big tabletop player, right? So I play 40k. I'm going to be playing Old World, of course, and I if like I kind of like the objective system for sure, because it kind of makes the players fight. And, you know, encourages a little bit more fair play. And, you know, objective play for me, when I correlate it to Warhammer, is pretty normal for sure. But not really sure how it was in the earlier editions of Warhammer Fantasy and all that stuff. So objective 1, it looks like the Ogres might have a little bit more capture weight here. They do have the Ogre Bulls and the Noblars and the Gorgers as well, but it looks like when the Khorne Halberds arrive, that's going to be changing the dynamic of this battle. Right now, it looks like the Ogres are pretty far ahead on value. Oh, that's why. There was a massive Khornate rout up here. So the Chungus Kingdoms were able to claim victory up on the high ground. So though it's going very well for Khorne and kind of keeping them in the value game, up here it looks like the Stonehorn Hunter plus the Slaughtermaster and the Ogre Bulls. Ooh, those are Man-Eaters with great weapons. No wonder that one's so bad. Man-Eaters with great weapons pack a huge armor-piercing punch. They're actually reasonably decent against like armored infantry, even if it's not large. So those Man-Eaters must have just given the dirty there to that Khorne army. And also the Herald of Khorne here getting smashed pretty good by the Stonehorn Hunter. I think he's on the Bulldog mount. Yeah, he's on the Bulldog mount. He's just getting driven off the map by the Hunter. He's being escorted off the battlefield. Hey Garland, dude, you're killing my sleep here. I was going to bed when the notification dropped. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You know, all my streams are done with the European time zones usually, so I felt like it would be time to give some folks in other parts of the realm a chance to participate. So my apologies, but thank you, Garland. Appreciate the support. Now, Khorne is kind of closing the value a little bit. Like I said, the fight on the low ground is going very good for them. They have the objective. They're grinding down the old Gorgers here. I think if Khorne would get their paws on this objective here, and, you know, Dactyr was read my mind, as the Chaos Warriors with Halberds do move over there, they will be able to wrestle that objective, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh my god, the Herald of Khorne, what is going on here? Look at this. The Herald of Khorne is like, is he like stuck on the horn? He's being like taken to the edge of the battlefield, dude. I do not know what's going on right there. He's like, is he legit stuck? I've never seen this before. Like, is he trying to attack? Okay, it looks like the Stonehorn is going to lose the Khorne Lord, and then he runs away. And that actually is a bit of a win for Dactyr, because now the Stonehorn is out of the battle, and he's a much more impactful character than this beat-up Herald, right? Objective 3, firmly in the hands of the Ogre Kingdoms. Dactyr is still down by about 1.4, give or take. But Khorne using its mobility, the Fleshhounds of Khorne do chase off the Noblars here, and I think Khorne is going to be very, very good at playing the mobile game. Those Halberds should be able to grab that and hold on to it until the Ogres are willing to kind of, you know, send a lot of units over there, commit a lot of weight to getting that objective. Right here we do have the Spawn of Khorne chewing through the Saber Tusk packs. Halberds, of course, getting a massive, massive amount of value by fighting Iron Guts. Iron Guts are okay against them, of course, but the Chaos Warriors of Khorne are some of the best Halberd units that we currently have in the game. They're very, very cost-effective for their price. Those Celestial Dragon Guard are decent. They cost a lot more, and I think the Khorne ones in general are just a little bit more effective, because they do drag down some of these big Chungus Ogres. Now, back up in the hills, the Bulldog mount has run, but I believe Khorne is going to be getting a 2-cap here. Let's see. So third objective, the Hounds are on it, and it looks like the Hounds are just going to be sitting to capture it by themselves. So those are just basic Chaos Warhounds. They do have very slow capture weight. If the infantry had stayed on there, they would have actually captured it by now, but ultimately the Hounds will get the job done, and they should be able to get it all in due time here. Value is pretty much razor thin. You know, since the Ogres were able to win the high ground engagement, the low ground has been pretty disastrous for them. The Khornate champions have been able to grind through most of the large Ogres using their Halberds. Nice power fist right there by Batman. That was beautiful, right on top of those Chaos Warrior Halberds there. Really, really getting some good work in. And also the Man-Eater pistols are being chased by 28 speed Halberds, and they're actually getting caught. Look at this, nice play by Batman again. He uses the Dismember to lock down the Khornate Lord, to slow it down, and he has his Man-Eaters in guard mode ripping shots and doing some okay damage. I do not believe the Herald of Khorne has any shields or anything like that. I do not believe it. Yep, he takes a little bit. Ooh, down to 600. Because the Hunter came in. The Hunter on the Stonehorn does have a ranged attack right here. And it looks like the Khornate Lord is still holding on in terms of leadership, which is pretty crazy. But Khorne is now kind of shoving the Ogres back in their deployment zone, which has the advantage of securing him the objectives in the middle, but it does give the Ogres the reinforcement advantage in which their tools can get into the battle a little bit quicker than yours can. You can see here in the back, we do have the additional spawn coming in, obviously being a very, very useful tool. And the high ground objective was taken by these Man-Eaters, it looks like, but the Fleshhounds of Khorne might be able to kind of jack this objective here. Dactyr is going in for the kill, whereas the back objective is now secured by Khorne, and it looks like some Haggard Noblars have jumped onto the objective right there. But some basic Chaos Warhounds, very, very good for chasing off such units. Should be able to get in here and, yeah, run these little guys down. So, good night, sweet princes. You will be missed. This is exactly what you want to be using Chaos Hounds for, just kind of nibbling on low-tier units. And the Herald's going to run over there, too, which is a good call from Dactyr. I think just getting the Herald to, like, sit here and, you know, park with some infantry away from the main fighting, so at least he can still benefit you in some way, is a good call. But man, oh man, the Ogres are getting routed by the Khornate Wall of Metal. Just tons of armored boys. Halberds really pushing through, and it looks like some Iron Guts have come out, but they're going to need some Noblar support. Iron Guts fighting against pure Halberds isn't going to be great. Ogre magic is also very, very good against these guys too, but I don't know where the Ogre Lord is. Stonehorn Hunter still causing some problems. Top objective right now is firmly in the hands of the Ogres in terms of the balance, but I think some of the Corn Dogs could bounce back. But yeah, Ogres are sending some dual weapon bulls as well as some Man-Eaters with great weapons, and these Man-Eaters will give the Corn Dogs the business for sure because they are large. Corn Dogs are not infantry sized like, you know, Poison Warhounds and Wolf Rats and things like that for the Skaven. They actually are, you know, pretty large. So, you know, great weapons and halberds and things like that do pretty well against them. So the back objective being held by the mighty Corn Lord, that's a good use. He can kind of sit there and keep any Noblars in check. And the rest of the Corn army is now up in value. So man, Dactyr was down by about 2,000 value, but really, really good control, taking those aggressive engagements, pushing back the Ogre army. And now looks like he's maybe on the cusp of a triple cap here. Corn is currently up on points by about 500, but certainly not the point of no return. But much of the Ogre army here is in big trouble. Gorgers are still a great unit. Gorgers are still world beaters for sure. I mean, they just lost a little bit of armor piercing in a couple models, but you know, even with that nerf, they're still really good and they typically do pay for themselves. I don't know about the value of these Gorgers. Let's go and see. They do have 51 kills and yeah, about 700 value, and they're still close to full health, so they're going to be able to generate quite a bit more. Noblars were summoned in, but being pinned in by Chaos Warhounds. Dactyr are going to be consolidating his forces and pushing into the Ogre spawn a little bit. Ogres probably will be able to get this objective. Oh no, they still have it. So yeah, they're just going to be guarding that. I think Dactyr is very content to play the 2 objective game. Just keep trying to fight on his terms. And the Ogres now seem to have gotten a critical mass of units via the Slaughtermaster as well as the Gorgers and the Noblars here to push back the Cornate forces from their spawn zone. But I think a lot of that is just Corn is pulling back to the middle to fight on the objectives and trying to get this Hunter. Hunters are very tanky. They have 110 armor, well, the Stonehorn Hunter, I should say. They do also have huge missile resist because Stonehorns in lore are like literally made of some type of stony flesh type, you know, so they have like a ton of missile resist, but Corn doesn't really care about that. Like, they don't really have any guns or bows or anything like that aside from the Haggard Skull Cannon. Looks like here, Sabertusk Pack could be chasing down basic Warhounds, but the Fleshhound's going to be intercepting. I think the Sabertusks probably would win this fight here. It could determine who's going to be getting this objective as the Ogres are rushing across with some bulls. You can never underestimate them, man. The Chungus Kingdoms are really, really fast. They all have 54 speed on their infantry, except for Noblars. Noblars only have 35. They're a little bit slower for sure. But even still, 54 speed, Ogre bulls, and they have the capture weight of infantry. So that's the thing that makes the Ogres really deceivingly scary, is that they can capture your objectives really quickly with really fast units. You know, most infantry in the game, if you're looking at Empire, Chaos, you know, any faction except like Slaanesh really is going to be, you know, 32 to 36 speed, maybe for elves, whatever. 44 if it's like really a track star type one. But like Ogres have the capture weight units that are so fast, and you can see how quickly even a single unit of Ogre bulls is able to kind of start wrestling this objective. Corn's going to have to get some units over here for sure. They don't really want to lose any of these. The top objective, like I said, still in the hands of Ogre Kingdoms. And finally, Dactyr is able to break that Hunter there. That's got to feel pretty good. And to be able to get these Fleshhounds to chase that bad boy down here is going to be super, super cost effective. So there goes the old Hunter. Watch him as he goes. There goes my hero. Well, nobody likes playing against Stonehorn Hunter, so that's got to be a little bit of a enjoyable thing for everyone in chat. Here, the Herald of Corn finally going to be joining, you know, Big Papa Corn in the realm of the Blood God. He's going to be dissipating to ashes here, as he's certainly done his job. He fought some hard fights. Corn should be able to hold on to this objective, I think. Although these are Ogre bulls. Are these summons? This is a summoned Bloodletter, so it actually looks like the Ogres might be able to get this, which would be pretty wild. Ogres with the comeback right now. Look at this, guys. Dactyr is up on points, but the Ogres have managed to kind of wrestle the middle between all this as well. There's still some spawn fighting here, but Corn's going to have to get some infantry on these points, man. Too much mobility. And Corn has been triple capped by the Ogres. Man, what a crazy comeback. Really, really scrappy game here. And that's really impressive because currently Dactyr is up by quite a bit of value. But again, Ogres have healing, so it's not really the best like indication of the true state of the game. So they might be able to heal through a lot of the damage value, but that is very, very impressive. And now Dactyr is kind of on the ropes a little bit in terms of the objectives here. I'm not seeing too much. We got some halberds moving. We do also have some Fleshhounds of Corn looking to come over here, but we do have Ogre bulls and Ogre bulls with dual weapons. You're definitely going to need more. I think like, oh no, and the Hunter has come back as well. So Batman has gotten the Hunter. He did not chase it all the way off the map. That's a little bit unfortunate for him. It could come back and get like a Troll Guts. And man, what a crazy game, dude. I can't believe the Ogres got back in this. Maybe Dactyr got a little bit too greedy pushing into a spawn zone and trying to like stuff him there, and it kind of allowed the Ogres to get some favorable trades. I don't really know. It's hard to say. It just kind of seemed like the Corn army started to wear down a little bit. It could perhaps be that Dactyr isn't spending his resources like super effectively, but it looks like he is. Yeah, he's got his supplies like kind of pinned down here. He did summon in Minotaurs of Corn with Grey Opens, and he does have a little bit of time, but not too much, man. Corn is going to have to at least get one of these objectives very, very soon, or they are going to be in the camp. Pretty crazy. Middle's looking okay for Corn, though. several Khorne warriors, and halberds and minotaurs are on their way. I think the minotaurs need to go like find some sort of a high ground objective. Like he has to start playing multiple objectives, because at this point he's going to be passed in terms of points. Middle is probably going to be taken now that the warriors are here, and the ogre forces are certainly getting crumped. Dactyr, look at this. The ogres have actually pulled the value back, man. This is really, really a back and forth game. On the far side, the counterplay from Khorne is going to be some spawn of Khorne and some basic warhounds moving into the saber tusks. But yeah, I think they're going to need a triple cap at this point, just because it's going to take, by the time they would get it, like, it's going to take him like full 700-800 points worth of time to even consider getting these objectives back. And ogres are able to rush more and more iron guts onto the point. Here comes the power fist of the Great Maw. Really nice getting rid of the infantry, because again, the infantry have the capture weight. The minotaurs with great weapons are doing a good job, mind you. They're a little bit overcosted in my opinion, but these guys still do cut through ogres like it's nobody's business. But look in the back, we do have the lead belchers coming in. Lead belchers, a really nice choice here to shoot off the monsters' infantry, including the minotaurs in the spawn. And is any objective being contested by Khorne? It looks like one. Yeah, they're getting pushed off here pretty good. Up on the high ground, the ogre kingdoms look to be in good shape, as the Fleshhounds of Khorne are going to be pushed back by the Ogre Bulls. And it's just like we talked about earlier. A lot of really fast units that have really good capture weight. You never want to underestimate the Ogres. Even though it looks like Khorne was in a pretty decisive position, still, the Ogres were able to find a way back and were able to find some favorable trades. I really like the Lead Belcher pick here. I feel like starting with Lead Belchers kind of lets your opponent hyper-focus on shutting them down, but if you bring them in a little bit later, that's kind of been my school of thought with like Cathay lately as well. I don't start with cannons, but I'll bring one in once my opponent is like focused elsewhere, so he can't really account for it in his initial build. But that is going to be a victory for the Ogres. Man, what a crazy comeback. Ogres were dominating in the beginning. Then Khorne took over and went up by like 2,000 value, and then the Ogres came back and went up by like 1,000 value. It was a crazy back and forth match. GG, very well played. Man-eater pistols did pretty good. One of them went pretty ham. Was able to pay for itself and exceed its cost a little bit. Looking at the rest of the Ogre army, Gorger still 1,400 value, still a very solid unit, but there was only one Gorger in the entire army. That high ground engagement, I was surprised it went so bad for Khorne with the double cultists and like halberds and stuff, but yeah, losing that initial engagement up on the top objective was certainly very, very painful. Minotaur's a bit of a curious choice too. I think maybe just 2 infantry units would have been a little bit stronger. GG, well played. That was a really good match. So now we'll update the score. That's going to be 1 win for the Batman. And the next map is going to be Arnheim, which is another one of our new maps. GG, well played. The Ogres are feasting tonight? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of Batman. You got the Ben Affleck, you got the Robert Pattinson. Michael Keaton was Batman too, right? Back in the day. Christian Bale. Yeah, tons of Batmans. Jeez. Ben Affleck. I think I already said that. Yeah, that game was really back and forth. Really, really close one. Very scrappy. What is it going to be for the next picks? Arnheim is here. Arnheim is a really good Cathay map, as long as you're not playing against Khorne. Khorne is a very good counter against Cathay. I would say Cathay still struggles in that matchup quite a bit. I've played around with it, but I mean, you can win. But I think at the higher levels, typically it'll be Khorne favored. But now that Khorne's off the menu, like honestly, for Batman, if you know how to play Cathay, this could very much be like a, hey, I'm going to go Cathay moment. Absolutely. Brian asks, are there mods out for Warhammer 3? Yeah, I think so. I don't know about like some of the bigger like campaign overhauls and things like that, but yeah, the mod workshop is now open on Steam. You can see it. Yeah, that's right. George Clooney as well. Who wins in a hot dog eating contest, Kugath or Greasus? Oh, that's a tough one, dude. That's a really tough one. You also forgot to include Grom the Paunch. I mean, Kugath is just so much more massive, and he also has a mouth on his stomach, so I think he wins because he can eat the hot dogs through his stomach as well as his mouth. And Greasus only has, you know, 1 maw, as they say. So, yeah, I don't know. I would probably put my bucks on Kugath in a hot dog eating contest. Yeah, 100%. 100% indeed. Yeah, Kugath is slightly better. I still wouldn't say he's like a good pick, but he can bring more to the table. He's got more ammo and, you know, a couple of things like that. He's still just such a slow potato, though. It takes him so long. So Dactyr is going to pick Tzeentch and Kislev for his next pick. But let us see what they will do now. So Tzeentch and Kislev for Dactyr, and Batman is going to follow up with his counter pick. So he's going to go Kislev as well. I would imagine we'll probably have a Kislev mirror match right now on this map, which is kind of funny. On the dreaded Arnheim. I wonder if there's any Nurgle Chads in the grand finals here. I think we can take a look at the website and see who's made it to the bottom as well. So let's see. Pull this up. Switch on over. And boom. All right, so who's here on the bottom? Okay, it's going to be Enticity versus Traitor GG. All right, very cool. So we can go to the bracket, make it official, and the TBD will evolve into Traitor GG. Must be in a clan of some sort. I think I've seen the GG around before. Very cool. So this is our top 4 for the day. This is the tail of the tape. These are the players who are going to be partying for your entertainment. All righty, perfect. Yeah, I feel like Kugath for sure would win, though. For sure. Yeah, Throt could definitely be a contender as well. I mean, doesn't Grom the Paunch have, like... Yeah, I feel like Grom the Paunch for sure would be a contender, too. He's got, like... He ate some, like, troll flesh, which makes him, like, constantly expanding. So I feel like he would have some sort of an unfair advantage. Like, when you're getting into demons, it's kind of like cheating, you know? Hey, Sice, I'm glad you like that one, man. Your Nurgle video is quite the clinic, my friend. Very well thought out build against Zinch. Yeah, it worked pretty well. My opponent was a good player, too. So it wasn't like it was me just beating up on someone on ladder or something. It was a very strong opponent. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well, Casey. Aren't you playing? Okay, no, you're not. Okay, you're not in a clan. Got it. Cool. It's going to be a Kislev mirror match, which should be fun. You know, the sleds are heavily limited today. So, by the way, I put in another rule for sleds because will there be any more Dawn of War 2? Yes, there will. I was going to stream it today, but I'm going to wait for... I'd like to play Dawn of War 2 with Professor Pone, and we always like stream it together. So I'm waiting for a day that he has off work, which will probably be like Monday or Tuesday. I might do one over the weekend as well. I'm not sure. Maybe like a nighttime one. We'll see. But nonetheless, yeah. I will be doing Dawn of War 2. It's really fun. But yes, it's going to be a Kislev mirror match. And we have limitations on sleds today. So sleds are limited to 2 for your whole army. Because honestly, after the changes that Chariots got, yeah, they nerfed war sleds, but they inadvertently got buffed even more because of the Chariot changes. So the problem is war sleds are just these unstoppable tyrants right now. It's like the biggest case of power creep in the game. So war sleds are limited to 2 per army right now. So Kislev hopefully today wasn't quite as oppressive. For anybody that played in today's event, did you guys play against Kislev and notice anything a little bit different? I'd be curious to hear about that. So I'm just going to actually double check their armies real quick and just make sure that they're following the old rules. All right, looks good to me. Looks good to me. No complaints there. Their armies are indeed following the old rules. When's the next faction war? Oh, soon. Soon, Jack. Yeah, soon. I kind of wanted to wait for another faction to be added in, but I guess we'll do it sooner. Yeah. The next faction war will be sometime in the next week or two. I have to talk to Human Boy Yes, because he said he wanted to kind of sponsor it. So I got to connect with him. I was waiting for a balance update, and now I have a new puppy who cuts my playtime. Oh, man. What kind of a dog did you get, Casey? Hey, how's it going, Milk and Cookies? Are you here for some late night fun? We just started. We're on the second game. We're playing Arnheim. It's going to be a Kislev mirror match. You know, like, the war sled thing is so ridiculous, guys. Like, war sleds are so ridiculous because here's the thing. A light war sled costs 1,100 gold, right? A Gorby's Chariot costs like 1,200 gold. Gorby's Chariot has 50 weapon strength. Light war sled has like 130 or something. Like, why? And it shoots. And it has better mass. It has like 700 more mass than a Gorby's Chariot. It's just like the most power creep shit like ever. It's insane. But anyways, yeah, that's my take there. But anyways, Creative Assembly knows about this. We just like, even after the nerfs, like we just told them and gave them that comparison. So I'm pretty sure in the next patch they'll be nerfing the war sleds to be like more in line with other chariots. Because right now they're just like on steroids. So that's why they're limited to 2 right now. Otherwise, Kislev would just be a tyrant. When's the next land battle tournament? I'm not sure. Probably sometime during the week, next week. Yeah, I think. It's going to be great, man. All right, no surprises. Oh my god, are these builds like almost identical? No, a little bit different. So for Rasputin on the left, who does have the Ursinist Revivalist, or Ursin Revivalist, I believe, it's going to be Rasputin, Ice Witch, backed up, and yeah, they're the same lore, it looks like. 2 heavy war sleds, a little Grom on each side, 1 infantry versus 2 infantry, and double, you know, Kosovo Dervish versus double Snow Leopard. Oh my god. I'm so glad I limited those. The Gorby's Chariot should just be free. Yeah, isn't that ridiculous? The war sled's power creep can be most obviously seen by comparing their speed to war wagons. Why are bears faster than horses? Yeah, I know, dude. I know. It's ridiculous. They need to be slowed down. Like, yeah, bears should have like 50 speed. They can keep their mass, but man, war sleds are just such a problem. They're such a problem. But they're limited to 2, so you guys don't have to watch like blobs of 4 war sleds just rubbing their meat together today. Armored Cossars, Ice Witch of Ice with the good old Heart of Winter. We do have the Little Grom backed up by Rasputin, double Snow Leopard, and the double Heavy War Sled here. So the difference is Batman's army has double Snow Leopard, and old Dactor over here has the double Kosovite Dervish with a little bit more of an infantry presence, I believe. So that's pretty much it, man. Armies are almost symmetrical, which is quite funny. I was expecting like a Streltsy-based army. Like, it'd be really cool to see Streltsy backed up by Kossars and then have like Snow Leopards to protect against the chariots while you shoot them down. I feel like that could actually be pretty good. I've seen a couple games with Grand Cathay where we've seen the Iron Hail Gunners mow down the old chariots as well. Which is great. Which is great indeed. Yeah, bears are very quick, but I do not believe their top speed surpasses that of a horse. I do think Creative Assembly is going to be changing the war sleds in the next patch. I do. I've talked to one of the individuals who's pretty hands-on with the the battle gameplay and all that stuff for multiplayer, and he's pretty aware of it. He watches these tournaments actually, so he watches the tournaments and is like kind of taking some notes on all that stuff as well. Great guy. So I believe he'll do it. Now we do have the Little Grom battle in the beginning. What would have been pretty cool is to see the dreaded Enticity play of using the Lore of Tempest to give your Little Grom better range. That would have been pretty cool for sure. But Dactor does get a shot on the Little Grom here of Batman and is able to kind of tickle its pickle. And then he's juking back and forth because Little Grom is pretty quick too. It has like 35 speed. The bears are a little bit faster than the oxen of Grand Cathay. The Cathay cannons have like 30 speed, I think, something like that. We'll have to see. Little Grom is obstructed. It would appear that that tree is in the way, but it's able to shoot past the tree and return the favor. But Batman is able to juke that classic Kislev duel. Hey, and they deserve each other for sure. The meta is better now, but it's still not good, not great. I think there's a couple more changes we need. I do think that Kislev needs to kind of be brought down a little bit, and some of the other factions, like Nurgle and Cathay, even though they are better with the bigger starting armies, they're still not as powerful as like these guys. I do think though that Creative Assembly does a lot of their balancing around DLCs that are coming up. Obviously, the battle designers and the balance people know that there's going to be a DLC coming, and it's probably going to substantially change the balance of certain factions. So that's my conspiracy theory. That's my tinfoil hat as to why I think there wasn't big nerfs or buffs for Nurgle, because Nurgle is so much worse in so many ways, in my opinion. Still can win, of course, in the hands of good players, but I think that one of the reasons they're not buffing Nurgle is because there's going to be some content coming for Nurgle very shortly, whether it be some sort of mortal warriors of some type, or maybe like a big anti-large monster. Who knows, right? That's my conspiracy theory that I think is going to be the case. Nonetheless, cannons are scooting and shooting. Here, the blue Kislevites of Batman have moved up onto the objective with the double armored Kossar. And it looks like it is Kossars with gray weapons here for Dactor. They should trade pretty favorably into the shielded variant, but they are a little bit beat up, so that does change the dynamic of the fight as well. Now, up on the hill, objective number 3 is going to be firmly taken, most likely by Dactor, so he's got his 2 Kosovite Dervishes, but it looks like he's going to be using them to crash down the hill instead. Maybe sacrificing them to push. We do have the War Sled duel, so the War Sleds here of Dactor are going to be scooting up and shooting at Little Grom. Looks like they're trying to tickle that pickle. But, by scooting up here, he's going to put himself in a little bit of danger. I do think that if War Sleds got nerfed, we would start seeing Kislev play a little bit more normally, using like the Streltsy and some of the other shooting units that are very, very good. War Sleds of Dactor do move in and are able to hammer these armored Kossars, and should be able to retreat without taking too much damage. The objective is going to be opening up in 3 seconds here. The horns have been sounded. The War Bear Riders with their Hussar wings going to be moving through, but Winged Lancers do move in. But the joke is on the Winged Lancers. They are going to do almost no damage against the 110 armor, which is kind of ridiculous. Those things are just super, super tough to kill. Now, double Snow Leopard duel. So Batman's going to be getting his Snow Leopards and pulling them in and attacking the War Sleds here of Dactor. And the Leopards have been really, really good in the mirror match. They're able to really dictate these kind of single entity model fights. They can goon the casters super well. And it looks like the Leopards of Batman are kind of 2v1ing the Rasputin here of Dactor. And Rasputin of Dactor doesn't really have any backup. He's kind of alone here, taking a lot of damage from these anti-large units. Currently, Batman is up on the value, as many of the blue Kislevites in the back do move up to the objective, which they have claimed. Objective number 2, though, is owned by Dactor, and 1 is uncontested, as Batman is going to be sending some Zargard up there, which are going to be super tough to remove. Now, Rasputin of Dactor got beat up pretty bad. The 2 Snow Leopards certainly cackling in the deep, or however Snow Leopards laugh. That's basically how they're laughing. And Kostalton is pulling back right here. He's at about 50%, give or take. He does have healing when he gets low, and he has access to the old Salak's Lullaby, and he could also summon in a Patriarch for a little bit more steady healing. Now, there's going to be a Heart of Winter going down. Interesting choice by Dactor there. Not a bad spot. It does hit the Armored Kossars and does also hit the sleds. and does trigger the leadership to proc here on these Armored Cossars, which is quite good. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good Heart of Winter. Considering these Armored Cossars are kind of stuck in it a little bit, it's getting some good value. Dactyr is actually pulling up in value here, as that Heart of Winter continues to generate. And it is hitting the War Sleds. It is hitting the War Sleds of the Batman. Doesn't do as much damage against such units. More designed against infantry, but still not terrible. But overall, it does put Dactyr up quite a bit on value. He goes up by about 700 or 800. Brent, thank you for being a member for 20 months. Cheers from Japan, Turin. Arigato gozaimasu boku no tomodachi. I really appreciate that. Armored Cossars moving across. Here, the Snow Leopards also pushing as well. Trying to push back some of the Grey Kislevites. As Streltsy have been summoned in, I do like the Streltsy pick. Little Grom's still very functional for Dactyr. This objective is being held by the blue Kislevites. His value starts to equalize again. It seems like that little Heart of Winter did get Dactyr back in the game, but overall, I still think the blue Kislevites with their double Snow Leopard combo are probably a little bit stronger for sure. So now they're going to be moving across, methodically gooning units in this big, disgusting blob. The heavy war sleds just do so much damage here. The Dactyr does have some big reinforcements coming in. He's got Armored Cossars, and what are these going to be in the back? Is it going to be an Ice Guard? Will the fantasy be fulfilled? It does not look like it. No, it's going to be basic Cossars. And the blue Goon Squad is really, really nasty. Batman's like blob here with the chariots is just so punishing. And I think Dactyr lost most of his chariots. Let's see. I'm not seeing him anywhere. Now, where does chariots go? I think they're offline. I think they actually got taken out by some of the Snow Leopards and some of the other units in that blob fight right there. But Dactyr is able to resecure the objective. So even though the blue Kislevite player is outvaluing a little bit, is able to catch up here, they're actually pretty much dead even on value. Dactyr has wrestled objective number 1 and does, of course, own objective number 2. He has a lot of infantry, whereas the other Kislevite army is a little bit more kind of invested in gooning elements, like using the Snow Leopard, so it's going to have a little bit less battlefield control. Man, oh man, I would imagine these heavy war sleds have gotten some big value. Up on the high ground, Batman is holding objective number 3. I don't think anything's going to wrestle those guys off it. The only thing you could maybe send to deal with those Zargard would be a Zargard Great Weapon or something like a heavy war sled, which is a big commitment. Another Heart of Winter going down. Big one right there. It does hit a lot of Dactyr's units, but Dactyr with really, really good micro is able to kind of split up and run away with all of these Kislevites. And it's going to be mitigating a lot of the damage that they're actually taking. One of the Ice Witches does get caught there, or the Frostmaiden, I should say. But man, oh man, that blue man group is nasty, and Batman Freak has pulled up. Pretty good concave shooting here from Dactyr, but none of these are big armor-piercing shooters. We don't see any of the old Streltsy coming in, nothing like that. Rather, they're just going to be shooting downtown and, kind of bouncing off some of the heavier armor. And man, that prayer is so good too. The Song of Sunlight just gives you perfect vigor. And Rasputin of Dactyr has been pushed back, but I love the Streltsy pick. This is really, really good. As long as he doesn't get line of sighted. Like, these guys should be shooting right now, so a little bit of a lapse in micro from Dactyr. He basically wants to have them just ripping fat shots. Streltsy are so cool looking. I think they're one of my favorite units in the whole game. I mean, I just love them. Handguns and powder units in general in this kind of setting. I think it's so cool. But they are able to get some nice shots, and you can see how quickly they do kill the sleds. I mean, I think Kislev wouldn't be like as scary against like dwarves and factions that have really good powder, right? Because they can blast the war sleds. A lot of these demon factions really struggle because they don't have like good direct fire shooting. And Cathay just struggles because they're just not very good. It's not so much like Cathay just isn't very strong, unfortunately. So, heavy war sleds of Batman finally getting worn down. Objectives, we have objective number 1 owned by Batman. 3 with a really good, this is like a dividend stock, like a stock that you invest in over long periods of time. You just kind of accrue a little bit of value. That is like the Zargard. It's a big investment, but over the course of a long game, it's going to guarantee you points, right? And your opponent will have to commit some heavy hitting dudes to get that guy off. And it might not be good, it might take too long. The Goon Squad of Batman here, able to get some great work in, and it looks like they do nibble on the Frostmaiden device, and the Frostmaiden device is broken and shattered. So Dactyr is now without a caster, and those 2 little Snow Leopards are honestly proving to be the big MVPs. Dactyr does not have anything of that sort, but now he does have his own dreaded heavy war sled back in here, so he's going to be returning the favor. But the thing is Batman is prepared for it. He has the triple Snow Leopard out right now, and the Snow Leopards are going to be piling in, man. And they will be giving the dirty to these war sleds. They were born and bred to take such things down, right? They have Frostbite, so they slow the sleds down to 46 speed. They can really stay on top of them. Also, having the Kostalton advantage is huge, right? Because Kostalton himself on his bear hits pretty hard. He's got good armor-piercing values and can do some really, really good work. Little Grom in the back, trading with Dactyr's Little Grom, or excuse me, Batman's Little Grom. It looks like that is one element of the game that is going very well for Dactyr, is the Little Grom here, and he is able to shoot downtown. Top objective is owned here by the Zargard. No attempt to really do that. Dactyr is probably just going to focus on these 2 objectives. He does have this one. In terms of the points right now, the blue Kislevites and Batman are currently up 24 to 1985. Great year. Although I was born in 88, so I don't really know anything about 85. But Fight's still going good, man. It looks like Dactor is starting to fall a little bit more behind in value as his forces are being worn down. He does summon in some Griffin Legion. Griffin Legion are basically Reiksguard Knights for Kislev with less armor and more speed, so they can run over things like basic Kossar super well. But again, what Dactor needs is something to, deal with these leopards. He needs to have his own snow leopards or some sort of an SEM fighting character. He has plenty of tools that can clear out, units. And here you can see the immediate charge of the Griffin Legion, a huge one. Such a cool looking unit, man. They are able to hammer in there, and those Kossars really do get their bread buttered pretty bad. And their passive does proc, so they're going to be unbreakable for a short period of time. And the Griffin Legion proven to be pretty good, but Batman does summon in his own Warbear Riders. So Warbear Riders are basically a hard counter against the basic Hussar Cav here, as well as the Griffin Legion. They're very, very good they're bear Hussars. And they're just going to be chewing through these units like it's nobody's business. And I think Dactor is starting to fall behind to the point where it's going to be very, very tough to come back. He lost the leadership fight. It looks like he did resummon his Frost Maiden. Probably not very expensive. Probably like only 800, give or take. And also on top of that, Batman is playing really, really well on the side objectives here. We do have the Armored Kossars moving in, and they are probably going to be pushing to Objective 2, taking it, and Dactor is going to be withdrawing, knowing it's probably GG. All right, guys. With that, Batman, the Dark Knight, advances to the Grand Finals with a 2-0 victory there. Very well played to Dactor, as well as Batman Freak. Good games. But the Snow Leopards were the big difference makers, man. 1,700. 1,100. Dactor did not quite have the tools. Did he have any reinforcements? He did not even bring any Snow Leopards. And the Snow Leopards really are the epicenter of the Kislev matchup, in my opinion. So, because they're good against chariots and they're good against characters, right? So with that, that is a 2-0 victory for the Batman. Well played to Dactor, man. A champion as always. And now we can go ahead and make it official over on the brackets. Let us do it. Do it. And here he goes. I'm kind of curious about the origin of this guy's name. I feel like his name is just Neil, and he's a huge fan of Batman. That's probably the lore of his name, I would wager. Alrighty, so now we will get Enticity versus Traitor GG and see who will arrive to the final. Okay, versus Traitor GG. Let's go ahead and invite these fine players to the lobby and get going from here. Alrighty, Kraken King versus the newcomer, the new challenger. He arises. How do you deal with fire rain rockets now that infantry spam is so good? How do you deal with fire rain rockets now that infantry spam is so good? Are you saying, how do I kill fire rain rockets? I mean, typically a single fury will do it. That's gonna do the trick. But again, I need more details. Tell me the factions you're playing. Is it domination? Is it land battle? There's a lot more variables pertaining to all this goodness here. All right, cool, man. Let's switch on back. This is the second best of 3 of the day. Hey, Doctor, no worries, man. You clearly have really good fundamentals in micro, right? It just takes a little bit of familiarizing yourself, because obviously you probably haven't played Kislev mirror matches, but I look forward to seeing you perform in future tournaments and seeing you learn the meta. Of course, I'm sure you'll be more interested when the old world factions get added back in, but really it was just the leopards. Fire rain rockets in general are kind of janky, to be fair, because the thing is, I mean, in campaign they're awesome, right? In campaign everything's awesome. Campaign is just I could teach Wookiee to play campaign. But if we're talking about multiplayer, fire rain rockets are very niche. And yes, they're good against infantry to an extent, much like a Hellstorm rocket battery is. But what I found is that the Cathay Grand Cannons aren't that bad against infantry. They actually are pretty consistent in terms of their damage. And they're also good against Cav, and they're also good against single entity models. So I much prefer the Cathay cannons. Now, if I were playing Cathay versus Dwarves, sign me the hell up for the fire rain rockets, because they're mobile and they're really good against infantry. But it depends on the circumstances. It depends on the circumstances for sure. Well played, Doctor, man. Well played. So he says, in Domination, the firing rockets tend to destroy me. I play Nurgle and Khorne. Yeah, so if you can just outmaneuver their... If you get a single Fury on top of a firing rocket, you can outmaneuver them, or if their longbows are basically somewhere else and you slip in a Fury, man, you're going to be fine. Yeah, that would be my 2 cents. Lokir Fellheart might actually be okay in Domination mode. He might be. But the players are doing their picks and bans right now. Battle for Itza once again. We're just going to be playing the good maps. We're playing all the good maps tonight, my friends. Which is great. One sec, just grabbing a drink of water from the other side of the room here. All right, all right. Lokir Fellheart will rise once more. I think Sigvald's going to be so good in Domination mode. Just get a super wide army and just sit him on objectives and cackle. But so will Archeon. Archeon's a beater. Kolek will be great too, man. God, give us the old world factions, dude. Stop Stop, Creative Assembly. Stop teasing us. Just give it to us. Jonathan Neal. Oh, look, it's Batman in chat. Okay, so it would appear your name actually is Neil. You are Neil the Batman Freak. Hopefully you don't mind that I call you Batman. Jonathan, let me know if that's okay. And he says, I am praying that Enticity loses so I don't have to fight him. Yeah, that's funny, dude. Yeah. Zachary says, dang, this is my first stream where Milk and Cookies is here as well. This is cool. Turin and Milk and Cookies are wise. Stay invested in these games. Yeah, right on, man. Thank you. Yeah, Milk and Cookies absolutely a champion. If you guys haven't seen him, check him out. Does lots of good stuff. We need Chaos Dwarves, I know. Enticity is the hero. Yeah, his micro is pretty freaky. He's very much a mechanics guy, too. Like, very much like a fundamentals guy. You know, you kind of have those players in different sports where, you know, they have, like, they really focus on the fundamentals. Very, very, very machine-like in that way. Like, he's very, very much like that. And has incredible micro on top of it. Turn, give it to us, Precious. Yeah, I know. I know. Jonathan says, I'm totally fine by going by Batman. My name is too long to not be shortened anyway. Yeah, it's an epic name. But it is a long one. That's what she said. And, you know, yeah, it's great. How many of you guys in chat have ever dropped a That's What She Said joke in public? You know? I'm curious if I'm the only one who does that. So, it looks like it's not going to be Demons of Chaos, because obviously you can't play them. I'm going to head over to the Discord and see if they have done their picks and bans yet. Let's go see. Okay, so it's going to be Tzeentch versus Kislev here. A classic matchup. It's one of the main ones we see, because Tzeentch obviously does struggle against the Bear Chariots like everybody does. Oh wait, no, is it going to be Kraken King on Tzeentch? Hold on a sec. No, it's going to be Tzeentch versus Kislev. I'm pretty sure Traitor is playing Tzeentch and Kraken King is playing Kislev. It's got to be the case. That has got to be the case for sure. Yeah, you see, okay. Many of you have Champions of the People. I definitely dropped that kind of joke before. Yeah, they're really good. It was really, really good. My grandfather was, he was very much like a country kind of guy. You know, he grew up in the countryside and really, you know, lived a pretty rough and tumble life. He got in a lot of bar fights when he was young and was, you know, in the military back in the day and was just a rough guy. You know, always had a chip on his shoulder. You know, growing up, he was, you know, really, really skinny, kind of a redheaded kid, and he was just always getting in fights. And one of the things, like him and I were extremely close, and he taught me how to ride motorcycles and, you know, how to do all that, you know, that type of stuff. And he used to just, when he was in his 70s, and how old would he have been? He would have been like 70 when I was working with him, because he worked on TV sets. He was like a transportation guy. So he would like work on all the trailers and vehicles and things like that. And man, he inspired me with the That's What She Said jokes. Because when I was like 17 or 18, obviously much more impressionable, I used to go stay with him during the summers and help him work and things like that. And man, like every chance he got, we would be at a diner, we would be on the TV set. He would just be dropping them left and right. So that's really my inspiration. Yeah, but he was a scrappy one for sure. He was a scrappy one indeed. A lot of legendary stories of the grandpa. Maybe I'll share some with you guys sometimes. There's some wild ones. He was the man for sure. Blackfeather says, I teach woodworking in high school and accidentally dropped. You dropped one in class? That's pretty great, dude. That's some risky business nowadays. I feel like back in, you know, my time in high school, you could get away with it, but yeah. There was some stuff in high school back in 2002, 2003 that I'm thinking back, I'm like, yeah, that probably would not fly today. That person would be ejected via a catapult from the school. Yeah, there was some weird shit that happened at my high school. Some weird stuff in terms of like teachers. Some crazy stories. Grandpa lore, I know. Grandpa lore is always good. So yeah, it's going to be Tzeentch versus Kislev. Yes, and now whenever I make that joke, I'm thinking of my grandpa. That's right. Brian says, my great-grandpa was literally a Texas Ranger, but I doubt he did roundhouse kicks. You never know. You never know. Roundhouse kicks with cowboy boots and, you know, those cowboy jeans, it's got to be a true feat. A true feat indeed. Yeah, man, riding motorcycles is probably one of my favorite things like in the world. It's so fun. I just like every day I wish I could just take my wife out on motorcycle rides, but my stupid hands don't work that well anymore. I can't really work the clutch and all that. It's a shame after the nerve damage I had. God, I love riding motorcycles. It's probably for the best though, you know. It's probably for the best, but It's so much fun. So much fun. Because my grandpa lived out in New Mexico. Like out in the flat, you know, like kind of like, yeah, a lot of desert. So we would go on motorcycle rides out there. Like he had a Harley Road King, like one of those huge hogs, you know, like loud Harley Davidson, like huge Road King bikes. And I had like a GPZ, which is more of a standard type bike. You sit up like perfectly straight. It's not like what they call like a sport bike where you're kind of laying down. But we used to just go on these rides like during the summer when it was like 90 degrees out, and just like, of course, my grandpa, he would just like ride in a white t-shirt with like a hat on, like a Harley hat, and wearing no helmet. And we used to just cruise down the freeways and go to diners and things like that. It was a very American experience. What do you recommend for us Nurgle mains to perform well in tournaments? It depends on the matchup, dude. I think a big recipe for success with Nurgle is going super wide and playing the objectives. Do not engage your opponent to the best of your abilities until the objectives open up. And then you really like force the objectives with your overwhelming numbers and just try and grind that way. I was stationed in New Mexico for 2 years. Yeah, right on. Right on. Grandpa Turin had a huge hog. Yeah, he was great, man. He was great. He had that old man strength for sure, because he worked as like a mechanic and stuff. And like he was just like a really bony dude, but when he like grabbed your hands, he just had this like wiry strength that like you just couldn't match. Michael, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard, my friend. We're here and we're having a good old jolly time. I believe we also had a donation come in that I missed. Yeah, from Garland. Sorry I'm killing your sleep, man. It's not my intent. It's not my intent, but thank you for the donation as well. All right. So we're loading in. Wow, look at the builds. I love the Tzeentch build. Immediately, we're seeing some new units. And by new, I mean recently buffed. Of course, they've been in the game the entire time. But 2 Exalted Flamers of Tzeentch. We have a giant chicken of metal, most likely the final transmutation to try and punish the blob, as well as a bunch of blues. And double cultists, of course, for the pink summon. Now, there was a nerf recently where you had... basically, what happened was, when you would unsummon cultists, it would give you, like... It was giving more of a refund than it was supposed to. So Creative Assembly recently changed it. So spam unsummoning cultists isn't as good as it was before, but it's still a very strong strategy, especially with like blues, or excuse me, the pink horror summons you get, and you also get the Power Stone, right? So Power Stones come with the Tzeentch cultists, which I would say is incredibly cost effective. And it looks like we have a desync. So there's always a desync between certain players. It's very weird. So I just screenshot the builds the first time, and then once you reload in, it doesn't like it's totally fine after that. Finals. All right, I know there's a desync. Thank you for telling me, Creative Assembly. It'd be nice if you could fix that. Thank you. All right, so let me grab these bad boys. All right, cool. So they're going to pick the same armies here, and they will load back in, and we'll get started in just a moment. Sorry about the delay. It's the nature of the beast. Nothing we can do about that. So. Do you think the new patch made smaller maps kind of spammy and really chaff heavy? I've been seeing it a lot. Yeah, I think some of the older maps like don't really account well for some of the larger funds that we now have. I think like if Creative Assembly keeps adding good maps like Itza and Arnheim, I think Domination is going to be so sweet. Because what's cool about objectives is one thing that was like you can actually have some terrain and it's not a huge deal because of the objectives, right? Whereas like in previous like land battle tournaments, for the sake of fairness, you typically wouldn't play on maps with any terrain. Whereas like Arnheim, you have like this huge epic cliff, which you can actually utilize now because the objectives are a factor and spawn points. I think it's great. Carrot Shell, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate the $10. Good times indeed. All right. So, you say bears have poor endurance. Well, not the bears in this game, because apparently when a patriarch sings a lullaby to a bear, it replenishes its vigor. So, yeah, it's pretty hilarious for sure. You think Wood Elves would perform good in Warhammer 3 multiplayer? I do. I think Wood Elves would be great. Like, huge sniping. Oh my god. Like, imagine moving up on an objective and trying to hold it, and then just like 3 Way Watchers just pounding you, you know? Like, yeah, I think Wood Elves are going to be, like, tyrannical for sure. Did they switch sides? I think... No, they didn't. They're on the same spot. Okay. I don't need to adjust the old nameplate. It is a fantasy world, of course. But we see the same armies. The double heavy war sled seems to be the meta since the nerf to the light war sleds. And you can only bring 2. So we put some strict limitations on bear sleds today. I think going any lower than 2 is just kind of ridiculous. Like, you can only bring 1 bear sled. Like, I don't know, man. I'm like tempted because they're just so good. Like, imagine if Enticity could bring 4 war sleds here, how tyrannical that would be. And we had that on our first tournament back the other day, and pretty much every game when it was like, Kislev was like 4 bear sleds, patriarchs, and just like awful, awful gameplay. So limiting them to 2, at least you could see the Kraken King has a diverse army now. He's got some Kossars and some bows and Streltsy. I think it's great. You guys have been doing loops on that topic for 20 minutes. I'm not sure what you guys are discussing in chat, but I do think Wood Elves will be quite good. I do think they will indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. It is going to be Traitor GG, although just Traitor right now, coming in with the Exalted Lord of Final Transmutation. It does also have Plague of Rust, which is pretty good against the War Sleds if you want to focus fire them down. We do have a front line of blues backed up by the double Exalted Flamer, which is recently buffed. These guys certainly quite a bit better than they were. And we do have the Cultists of Tzeentch, so they're going to be using Power Stones, which you just kind of layer out, and yeah, not great fighters, but you get the idea. Aside from that, Enticity is going to be coming in with Kossars, War Sleds, Kossars with Spears, and some Streltsy too, which is cool. Streltsy are kind of like the one-off pick to help you deal with Doom Knights, Chaos Knights, and the big armor in Forsaken. Overlord asking, would Greenskins be good for Warhammer 3 multiplayer? Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think Black Orcs are going to be super good. I think Night Goblins will be amazing for jacking objectives. I think they have really good lore choices via Grom the Paunch, Rampaging Skarsnik. Even Grimgor is going to be better in this game mode because he's going to be awesome at sitting on objectives, right? So, there you have it. There you have it. The Blues are moving on up. The Exalted Lord of Change going to be taking some shots from the War Sleds. I would imagine Enticity kind of has free range here, honestly. There's no spawn, and this is the liability you run by not having any Chaos spawn. I guess the Exalted Lord of Chicken can move in and, like, Space Jam against the War Sleds a little bit. You know, he's a much better fighter than Kairos, but what I see happening here is that the War Sleds are just going to go balls deep in this formation and just get so much damage. Like, so much damage, dude, and it's not going to be great. Now, the Exalted Flamers have 150 range, and they themselves are okay fighters. They do have armor piercing, and this guy looks like he's trying to move into range to shoot, and there goes the first flamethrower effect, and it looks like he's going to be moving up to fight the Kislev army, which is very dangerous, but look at the damage there. Those things are pretty good, man. That range is nice, and it has a ton of ammo, too. I think it's a mistake for the forces of Tzeentch to advance, because, like, these bear sleds are just going to absolutely ravage these blue horrors right here. It's going to be a disaster, and now Spawn have come in. So Spawn, a little bit late to the party, as 2 of the blues are basically on death's bed right now, and the Exalted Flamers are returning the favor against whatever they can hit, so the Kossars and these different units. But again, I think it's a substantial mistake to advance into this Kislev formation. I think that they should have maybe played the high ground, played a little bit more conservatively, but moving into Kislev's kill box of, like, all their shooting, armored Kossars, bow Kossars, this looks like it's going to be a massacre from the looks of things. I think this game's going to be over in a couple minutes, and the Kraken King is probably going to clean up shop, because now the Spawn have arrived. Yes, which is nice, but the Chariots have already killed all the infantry, you know, in conjunction with the shooting. Also, we have Streltsy here. Like, these Spawn, when they move up, dude, are just going to get just absolutely mowed down. We do see a couple summons of pink horrors here in the front, but yeah, that was, like, this game mode of domination. Ever since the changes have come in patch 1.1, it's become more similar to land battles. And moving into an army that has shooting on literally every single unit. Oh, look at that! Gust of True Flight onto the Streltsy to give them 182 range so they can outrange the Exalted Flamer is so heavy metal. The Kraken King just so on point with his play here. And Traitor is definitely putting up a fight, but I think that's going to be game blouses here pretty soon, as the Kislevites are going to be moving forward and looking to crump. Enticity has been on an absolute tear in his recent tournaments. Of course, he played in the first patch 1.1 tournament, and now is looking to come in with a steel chair and climb his way to the top of the leaderboard. We will see. The Chariots continuing to cause problems, and I know a lot of people right now would point and be like, oh man, Chariots are super OP, and yes they are, but that is not the reason why the game went this way. The Kislevite shooting has just been so devastating, and it just goes to show. If Enticity had used a couple heavy cav units, I think the outcome would have been the same, more or less. I just think his concave fire and having this like big formation has been so incredibly powerful. And now currently there's about a 4,000 gold lead. Tzeentch is going to be sending in units where they can. We got some spawn coming out. But the middle objective is going to be taken by Kislev, and, you know, not too long. We have a couple spawn here, which are just being roadblocked by the cheap dervishes and just being peppered down by the bows of Kislev. And Kislevite bows are just so good here. Typically, you got to have some spawn to stand amongst your blues to keep them, but also, I don't think advancing into that Kislev shooting box was the play. It's just, I think you would have to play a little bit more kind of cheeky. You know, get some magic harass, use your Exalted Flamers to poke, move up to objective number 2 here, do a little bit of dual pronged harass. But yeah, this is basically how Enticity plays Vampire Coast. Yeah, it's just like spamming a bunch of range units and of course just doing devastating damage. And Tzeentch is going to be paying the troll toll here, man, as the armored Kossars really trade well. And we've seen Kislev do very well against Tzeentch in general. I think, like, since the inception and launch of this game, Kislev has been the natural counter to Tzeentch, which didn't really have too many counters. Tzeentch, for the most part, is really good against everyone else. I think their one hard matchup is Kislev, and it ended up being the matchup that he was kind of pushed into here. Looking around, objective number 1 is taken by Kislev, 2 as well, and 3 as well. So Kislev with the slow push, really just grinding down the Tzeentch forces, sending the Changer of the Ways back to the Shadow Realm. He doesn't quite get this objective up here. It looks like he didn't quite get it. Oh, he left it a little bit too early. Not that it matters. When you're up by like 5,000-6,000 value, I think you can kind of get away with like little things like that, and you're going to be a-okay. Tzeentch in the middle. I believe these pinks are summoned. Going to be disappearing in 2 seconds. That is the cultist. The cultist will be saying farewell to his little minions. And yeah, this is a game that I wouldn't be surprised to see Traitor leave the game unless he thinks there's some sort of a sliver of hope that he can accomplish. Batman awaits in the finals, awaiting Enticity. And once again, the Kraken King pulling back with his dervishes. He does actually get the objective. So Tzeentch now is going to be moving up with his blues as well as his Forsaken, going to be jumping on objective number 2. Now, this is something that I think should have happened a little bit earlier. Like, just swarming up to this point. Oh, it's time for John Madden. Okay, you guys ready? I think the Tzeentch army, instead of engaging right here, I think they should have done this and gone right up to this objective like that. And then, you know, it forces the Kislev army, which is super entrenched right here, to reposition itself to push up here. And then when they do that, you can start flanking here. It kind of opens up angles of pressure, you see what I'm saying? Because how it worked out, just moving into their entrenched position where they were just like ready for you, and the formation was very well developed, I think ended up costing them the game. But it's still a valiant attempt. Enticity is a super, super strong player, and he also has an advantageous matchup versus you. So you're really, really going to be on the back foot there. Absolutely. Now looking around, Cultist of Tzeentch, going to be feasted on by the Snow Leopards of Kislev. Very, very cool units. They should be able to make pretty quick work of this lady here. So there they go. Patriarch's also piling in to fight. Good night, sweet Cultist. There you go. I couldn't resist myself, guys. I couldn't. It has to happen once per stream from now on. It's going to be one of our signatures. Value lead, though, for the Kraken King, guys. He's currently up by about 7,000. I don't see too many avenues for Tzeentch to get back in the game, although Tzeentch has wrestled an objective at this point. Currently, there is a losing compensation coming in for Tzeentch. So they are getting an additional 5 supplies, but I don't think that's going to make up. I mean, Enticity is still, you know, very, very effective here with the heavy war sleds. 1 per stream, no more, no less. I think that was the good one. Yeah, I think that was the good one. Turin should force players to choose opposing. You know, yeah, they're different factions here, though, so it's not too big of a deal. It's not too big of a deal. So Patriarchs and the Snow Leopards getting in there. Shout out to In Control. He was the inspiration that you know, has gotten me to, you know, master such drawings. Back in the day, I used to watch In Control cast StarCraft tournaments, and he used to do that on these like major events, which was so funny because he was even more gung-ho because those would be like big like events, not like just like a random stream on my channel, right? And he would get in there and do them, and yeah, I used to just die laughing every single time. He was yeah, such a fun commentator. 2 little splashes to show where the fire should be concentrated. Yeah, objective 2 though, very much in the hands of Tzeentch, and 1 is actually being slightly contested by Tzeentch now. Could we see some sort of a comeback? I don't think so. I think it's just kind of a shooting gallery. We see a 7,000 point lead. Really, really nice Tzeentch army ability, though. That was a beauty right there. That one able to really pound home on the Kossars and the Streltsy, and that got Tzeentch a lot of value. That was, man, Tzeentch's ultimate army ability was so, so good. You should have saved the drawing for the Slaanesh fight. No, I think it was pretty good here. I think it was pretty good. Yeah, I used to love watching In Control cast. He was one of my favorites. And he was also a big Warhammer fan, too. He played Warhammer Tabletop and was a really, really good player, like super high level on Tabletop. Yeah, he was the man. So, Enticity, just still rolling through the Tzeentch forces. I mean, yeah, like, Traitor can hold his high ground objective. I don't know what chance he thinks he has, though. I think in the Total War community, people aren't quite used to, like, leaving when they're really, really behind. Like, it's kind of a thing in land battles, which has been our multiplayer in the past, is that, you know, you would basically... And there he leaves right now. So I think people are getting more used to it. He realized he had no chance. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's hard to tell, like, how bad it is. But yeah. The Exalted Flamers, one of them paid for itself. But aside from that, it was just kind of a massacre. The Kislev army was super fine-tuned, worked super well. And yeah, it was no joke, absolutely. I like the idea, like the double Exalted Flamer, but like the engagement he took was a little bit precarious. You also need to get some Screamers. Screamers are a good mass unit. He brought them out later, but you need to have them in the beginning. So he can't just run through your blues and just absolutely massacre them. So, all right. So that is going to be game 1 only, though. Now we're going to go on to game 2, which is going to be on Arnheim, and the players will do their picks and bans, and we'll go from there. All right. Nurgle Boil spell Overcast 1 taps Cathay Artillery. Is that useful? Oh, it could be potentially, yeah. If they don't see it, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. J6 saying you played him in Control. Was that back when he was playing Custodes or when he was playing Tyranids? Tyranids, okay, got it. I'm in the middle of painting my Empire army right now, repainting them. So I had an Empire Warhammer Fantasy army, and it was painted in this like scheme that I did when I was younger, and I really didn't like. It was like this purple, like weird, like dark armor, which I'm not really good at painting dark colors. And ultimately, it came out like I didn't like it. So I have a friend of mine stripping down most of the army, and now I'm doing the classic Reichland paint scheme, which is going to be the white and red with like yellow feathers and things like that. And I think it's going to be pretty awesome for sure. I just painted a couple handgunners last night. I'm working on Volkmar the Grim because Old World is coming back. So I'm going to be able to do some battle reports on the channel with Sigmar as well as Kislev, which we'll collect when they eventually get released. So Andronius, love your streams, big guy. Go Kraken King. I know. Anticity's coming for that #1 spot in the leaderboard, man. He's coming for it. No vengeance. This is no rabble of mindless bears, says Kopel. These are Ursin Kai. Their armor is thick and their sled's broad. I love it, dude. That's really funny. That's really funny. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. I love the new paint scheme. I painted... So I just started painting the army again last night. And I finished 2 models so far. I got 2 handgunners finished. And also the Celestial Huracanum's done, because I didn't really need to change it. It just kind of is like, yeah, it works for anything. Hey, Sipe, yes, welcome. Starting a Chaos Dwarfs army as soon as they drop for the Old World tabletop. Yeah, Chaos Dwarfs are going to be sweet. I would imagine Creative Assembly, Games Workshop will probably just re-release the Chaos Dwarfs that they had on Forge World when Old World comes out, and like you'll be able to buy them again. So yeah, it's going to be good. Void Lulz did not play in this tournament, no, because I believe he's somewhere in Eastern Europe. So yeah, he's probably not like awake right now. Evenstar played though. Evenstar and him, I think, are close friends, and they usually play in the events together. Evenstar did play today. Let me go ahead and show you guys. We can take a look. So Evenstar is currently, I believe, the #2 player on the Total War Tournament League. In the Total War tournament community, I think he's #2. Let's see. So if you head to the website, so let's follow Enticity here. Hey, Batman, don't forget to update this. You probably already did. I just don't think I've refreshed it. Hold on. Yeah, he did. So Batman's waiting in the finals, and Anticity's playing Traitor right now. Enticity, so what you can do is you can just kind of, to see who he played. So Enticity defeated Platypus, who's a multi-time tournament winner. He defeated Evenstar, dude. And then he defeated Maximilian in the first round. So Enticity is just like a killer, man. He's just like, he's back with a vengeance. He's like, you know, I'm taking a break from tournaments and whatnot, but he's coming for that #1 spot. You can see he only has 8 games played, whereas like Void and Evenstar have like 30 plus matches played. But tournament wins carry the most weight for Total War Warhammer 2 competitive. So you're going to be the top ranked player if you, you know, if you have the most tournament wins. So even if somebody has a lot more games played, if you can win more tournaments than them, you'll overtake their spot. Now, something that is cool is we're going to be adding season functionality soon. So there's going to be details about seasons. So the leaderboard is going to be reset like every 2 or 3 months. And we'll have a grand tournament between the individuals in the top 16. So right now, if we ended season 1, which we're in right now, I just don't have the graphic up yet. My web developer is going to be adding it. Also, there's going to be stuff down here, which is going to be like miniatures painted by all of you guys in the community. So you guys can submit your minis to the website and we can show them off, which is pretty cool. But if the season were to end right now, it'd be the top 16. So yeah, it'd be everyone from here up would be invited. Yeah, it'd be top 16. So it would be Calimbro, Random Nicks, Big B's, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You can see the individuals who'd be qualified. And if people can't make it, how it would work is I just keep going down on the leaderboard and inviting the next person until we can reach our top 16. And then we have a big Chungus event, which is super, super exciting. So yeah, really cool. If you guys are new, this is Total Tavern. This is the website I had developed for Total War Warhammer's competitive community. Has leaderboards, has tournaments. You can sign up here. Dov is having a tournament tomorrow morning on the website as well. So his tournament will feed into the leaderboard too. As long as it's a competitive format, either a competitive land battle or domination, it feeds into the leaderboard. And yeah, we got blogs, articles. Like here's an interview of one of the recent tournament winners talking about his experience. Some other articles we have is this one's by A-Move Hacker, kind of explaining his journey to becoming a competitive player. We also have guides. Only have Cathay right now. This was done by the Mountain King Umais, which will be getting updated soon, I'm sure, because I think the builds are from the previous rendition. Did he update those? I can't quite tell. But there's going to be a lot of fun stuff. It's very, very early on, so a lot of fun times to be had. All right, so where are we at? Switch on back here. Let's see if the players are ready. And it looks like it's going to be Ogres versus Tzeentch on this next map. Enticity is on Tzeentch. I feel like he just ends up on good matchups. Can you tell Enticity to stream? I mean, it's up to... Yeah, he doesn't really cover multiplayer on his channel anymore. He's mostly doing like tips and tricks and campaign stuff. But I think he has a second YouTube channel where he puts up his multiplayer stuff. Hopefully he's recording this. It'd be pretty cool. And then he could slap it up on his channel and we can do that. Yeah, and if you want to join our Discord community where we organize a lot of this stuff, you can just go to the website, which is totaltavern.com in the description, and you can go there and just, there's a Discord link up top, which is active, so. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You guys remember that movie? That was Waterboy, right? I love how in like the old Adam Sandler movies, what was that? God, it's the guy who plays Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo. Rob Schneider, God. Rob Schneider appears in like every Adam Sandler movie and just has these like ridiculous roles. It's so funny. You can do it. Oh, man. Oh, man. If I were to be like a super eccentric billionaire, I feel like I would just like pay for a Blockbuster to be opened up near me and just so I could still have that nostalgic experience of going and renting VHS tapes and like watching those old movies. You know? Yeah. All right. This is a best of 3. This is the top 4, the second semifinal of the stream. We had the first one. Rob Schneider, that's what it was. Yeah, I knew it would come to mind. Yeah, no Khorne faction guide yet. It'll come in time. Frostlight Turin, thank you for all the wonderful content, man. Can you do that Palpatine thing? Which one do you want? Frostlight, which one do you want? You want the do it? I mean, do it. I can always do that. But like the Palpatine laugh, it needs to be a true moment of like me really just getting someone good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. It is going to be Enticity with the double iridescent horror. The reason why you bring these is because they have shooting attacks and can snipe Ogre characters. We do also have a Herald of Tzeentch with the blue and pink fire. The rest of the army is going to be Forsaken, backed up by blues, and that's it. Pretty much just Forsaken and blues. Pretty cool. And the Ogre Chungus army is going to be a Slaughtermaster of Beasts. That is a really risky play. He's going to get sniped so hard. We do have an Iron Blaster, backed up by Man-Eater Pistols, double Man-Eater Pistols, and a bunch of Ogre Bulls. A little bit strange to not see the Iron Fists for the shields, but now Enticity is going to move in and try and snipe a little bit, but he's got to be careful. You know, the Ogres have shooting here. It's not like they're helpless. Like, maybe he was thinking he would be able to fly over here. You can see he's juking right now, but like some of those shots still will connect. The shields are slowly being worn down, and it looks like the, Plague of Rust going down to lower the armor of the Iron Blaster. And the Iron Blaster, this is why you need a Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw, because if you had the Troll Guts, you'd be able to heal this thing up pretty well. But Enticity better be careful, man. His Herald of Tzeentch is getting really, really beat up, actually. And I don't know if it's worth it. We'll see. I mean, if he kills the Iron Blaster, it's definitely worth it. But this has been like a Tzeentch tactic for a long time. To come in and goon out the Iron Blaster. And Tzeentch players developed this tactic, basically, when the Iron Blaster was super overpowered. Now, it's not as OP now. And despite the juking, Enticity has taken quite a bit. And Tzeentch's shields do not regenerate as quick as they once did. The Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw is just kind of Netflix and chilling here, while the Iron Blaster continues to just get Shadow Realms. I think pulling the Iron Blaster back this way and summoning in some Nobblar Trappers to get their little ranged attacks could be quite useful, but Anticity's Lord is at like half health, guys. Like, this is very, very dangerous. Though he did kill the Iron Blaster, which is a huge win, or he at least pushed it off. His Lord potentially could die here. We will see. Man-Eater Pistols getting the work in, still chasing, and the Iron Blaster is at -2. I don't think it's shattered quite yet. Ogres do not have any more range units. Currently, they're both saving up quite a bit. He could also just unsummon the Iron Blaster, try and get a little bit of a refund. But the Man-Eater Pistols have done some work. They have done some work for sure. You can see this little Herald of Tzeentch not regenerating his shields instantly like they used to. The duration has been doubled, so it takes a little bit longer to heal, which I think is very good for the sake of balance. I think it was really dumb before how that worked. And the two Heralds back here are chasing, but value is relatively even. But overall, I mean, Anticity's Lord is still going to be useful, whereas the Iron Blaster is potentially just going to die here. Look at that, we get some Lead Belcher summoned in. That's pretty cool. So Lead Belcher is going to be giving some Overwatch fire here to the Iron Blaster. So at the very least, it'll force Enticity to kind of micro and juke But I still think that Tzeentch probably came out slightly ahead on that initial engagement. Saber Tusks are on their way in. Iron Blaster's at 518 HP. Certainly a ton of micro to do what he just did. You got to be dodging those units back and forth quite a bit. And the Lead Belchers are wearing down their armor. Maneater Pistols still chasing down the Tzeentch Lord, getting a little bit of poke. You can see his shields are being peppered once again. I'm old enough to remember before Blockbuster. Me too. Yeah, we had a local video store that went out of business because of Blockbuster. But, you know, Blockbuster was still fun. Yes, the local video store. Now, objectives will probably be claimed by the Ogres. I would imagine they should send like a Nobblar up here. Like a Nobblar Trapper would be super cost effective just to get the lead. Because I feel like the Tzeentch army will probably outvalue this Ogre army. But if you could grab the objectives, you can win on points still, right? If you can kind of hold them at bay long enough. Maneater Pistols, what are they doing? It looks like the Iridescent Horrors back here chased that Iron Blaster all the way off the battlefield. Value for the Kraken King, obviously quite good. Ogre Bulls have not been sent in yet, so a little bit of a lapse in micro. The Ogre Bulls of Traitor should be engaging on the Forsaken while the Nobblars are fighting, because right now the Nobblars are just being sacrificed, which I guess is the Ogre way. And maybe he's trying to avoid shooting too, so I could be completely wrong in that regard. Maneater Pistols, though, you want to just have them shooting at the spawn. They'll be very, very efficient at taking down those targets. And then when the forces of Tzeentch use their Furies to shut down your shooting, you basically just summon in Saber Tusks and nibble on them and really, really do very well for yourself. Looks like some big magic's going to be going down here. Not sure what. Flock of Doom. Okay, interesting. Seeing a Beastcaster here is quite curious. But it looks like the Flock of Doom did a little bit of damage. Lead Belchers shooting, able to rip some big shots into the Screamers of Tzeentch. Screamers will do okay with their anti-large and armor piercing here against some of the Man-Eaters. But the thing is, Man-Eaters are very good fighters, and they probably will be able to kind of dismantle them. But the Ogres seem to be getting buckled on multiple fronts. Kraken King is currently up on value. No, that's actually Traitor. So Traitor's up on value. Okay, I had a little bit backwards, but the Ogres seem to be trading okay. Although I think that's going to change when their front line starts to buckle a little bit. Here we do get some Chaos Furies moving in, and nice play here by Traitor. Very, very good stuff. Able to get the Nobblar Trappers to grab that objective number 3 to guarantee him some points, because down here it's going to be very, very heavily contested. There's a lot of wild shit going down. And now Ogre Bulls with Iron Fist are coming out, so the Iron Fist should be able to dismantle these Furies pretty quick. I think that Tzeentch is going to be taking over the objectives, though the Ogres are still slightly ahead on value, but look at this. The Lord is also dying as well. So the Slaughtermaster with his... does he have a peg leg? Why do all the Slaughtermasters have one leg? Kind of a curious thing, but... He is running for the hills and is being gooned by the Iridescent Horrors as well as the Herald of Tzeentch up in the sky. So farewell to you, sweet Ogre. Ryan Martinez in chat asking, Turin, have you ever seen the Scrap Launcher in any Ogre game? Yes, I have, and they're situationally okay against Khorne. It's slow-moving, heavy infantry. You can use them and take out halberds and usually do pretty well for yourself. Now, Ogres do have a little bit of a contingent moving down from the hills. A couple Nobblar Trappers, some Lead Belchers in the back still shooting pretty effectively. Ogres do have a secondary battle line formed up as some of the Iron Fists now move in. And the Man-Eater Pistols are being forced back. But again, Tzeentch has taken over most of the initiative on the objectives. I believe this objective here is owned by Ogre Kingdoms, actually. So currently, Traitor is up in terms of the points for the objectives, but the value has equalized. Enticity has kind of been, clawing his way back here, and not having a Slaughtermaster certainly is going to suck because it's a big, expensive unit. And, I guess he had Lore of Beasts, which I don't think is very good in general. I mean, I guess it's okay, but I really think the Great Maw lore is just too good. The healing, the Power Fist ability is a really, really good unit, or ability against, like, Forsaken. Lead Belchers, though, getting some nice peppering. The Blues and Forsaken that are blobbed up right here are getting blasted by the Forks and Spoons that the Ogres launch out of these cannons. So good value right there. And more Ogre Bulls with dual weapons moving up, but the Spawn of Tzeentch seem to trade very, very cost-effectively into them. The Armor Sundering does bring them down to 0 armor, so when the Spawn actually hit them, it's pretty brutal how squishy the Ogres suddenly become when their armor gets sundered. Because they don't have much to begin with, so it just becomes like... They become like a Slanesh unit, right? In terms of their durability, like just no armor whatsoever. Lich109 saying, Turin, I'm guessing they have peg legs because some of the rare time when their stews needed more body. Yeah, I suppose that would actually be lore-friendly for sure. They're willing to make the sacrifice for the Great Maw, of course. Ogre Bull Iron Fist, though, trading well here, taking down the Forsaken. Should be able to get through these Blues. It depends on if these Screamers decide to attack on the ground. Ogre's being pushed back very heavily, but they do have a relatively secure position on the high ground. And like I said earlier, we saw a game where Dactyr was winning with his Khorne or was able to get the comeback, and then Ogres just kind of found a way to snake the objectives. But I think Kraken King is very, very aware of this, as the Ogre Bulls with Iron Fist do move in. Pink Horrors here, I believe, are a natural unit. Should be okay, but not so much against the shielded Ogre Bulls. And the capture weight now is favored for the Ogre Kingdoms, as they slip a couple units past old Tzeentch's defenses. And the Pink Horrors here should go down relatively quickly, but I guess there's Spawn and Screamers and plenty of Tzeentchian units moving in, while the Ogres do continue to pour in reinforcements. And Ogre Bulls, I think for the Ogres... excuse me, get some water here. I think the Ogre should probably consolidate onto objective number 1. I feel like sending forces to I know what you guys want to see right now, but again, we got to keep it to 1 per stream so I don't get out of control. But, you know, they're sending a lot of units over here, which I guess they might be able to wrestle it eventually, but maybe if they consolidated their forces onto one objective, maybe? Although, I don't know. Ogres are pretty quick, so I guess the dual-prong speed is pretty nice for sure. I just want to draw those pictures. It's tempting. It is tempting indeed. Here comes more Iron Fists. Value is, like, dead even, guys. In terms of their, like, actual trading, it's so damn close. And the Ogres might actually get a pretty favorable situation over here. We can see the Ogre Bulls with Iron Fist moving in from both sides. Some of these guys did rally, and might be able to pile in and clear off some of the blues and give the Ogres capture wave. Yeah, we got Noblars moving in as well. Middle objective very much in the clutches of Tzeentch. I think some of the stuff that's keeping the Ogres, or excuse me, Ogres in the game is the Lead Belchers back here. I feel like they've been shooting pretty effectively. Let's see what kind of value they got. Only 800, but they still have a fair amount of ammo. Not too much, but enough to clear out a couple units. They probably will, at the very least, pay for themselves here. Now, Ogres are starting to wrestle this objective, guys. Points are just razor close. Enticity is up by about 100 points, but clearly Traitor has learned from his first game and is out for blood. He's looking for vengeance here against the Kraken King after that first really rough game he had. And is showing his mettle, putting up a great fight here. Will this objective go to the Chungus Kingdoms? It very well could. I don't think Enticity is going to be going for the high ground objective here. Could perhaps summon in like a really cheeky Forsaken unit to come over here and clear off these Noblars. Maybe jack that objective. It could be something that's on the table, but again, I think he's a little bit more focused on winning this center mass fight. We do see some Flamers of Tzeentch summon in for Enticity. Now, these things, of course, pack a serious punch, but they're very vulnerable, and immediately Traitor sees it. So very good awareness by Traitor on the map. He's going to be coming across, and these doggos will be screaming on in there and probably jumping on those units. Now, I would imagine Enticity will probably summon in something, like Furies maybe to try and peel them. You can see some Screamers and Furies are coming back there. But what's really good is all these flying units here are now... Oh, man, I almost accidentally drew one right there. I legit was actually meant to do that like that. Oh, man, it almost happened. But this is really good because look how much of Enticity's army is being pulled off objectives and is going to go deal with those Saber Tusks, which still will do some good damage. And now the Ogres have secured 2 objectives against the forces of Tzeentch. So very good match here, man. These guys clearly very evenly matched in this duel of fates here as the Saber Tusks move from the high ground and are going to be jumping onto the spawn of Tzeentch. Lead Belchers still shooting in. And what are the Ogres bringing in now? A couple idle Ogre Bulls here. A little bit of a lapse of micro here. We have these guys and these guys, both of which need to be unsummoned. We have these and these. So Traitor very focused on some elements of the game, but a couple small mistakes here could cost him in the long run. We'll have to see. Like these need to be unsummoned and these need to be unsummoned too. So then they're added back into the pool. Otherwise he's going to run out of units to summon. Look at this. Traitor actually brought back his Slaughtermaster. So his Lord has come back from the Shadow Realm. He has suffered his time out, and there's going to be some Flock of Dooms, I guess. Flock of Doom not going to be great against these spawn, though. That is for sure. And look at this. Ogres coming in for the dreaded triple cap. You know, a lot of Enticity's forces were pulled off that objective, and the Ogres able to move back up with a bunch of Secret Agent Noblar Trappers. So now they're both on this point here. The Flamers of Tzeentch going to be bathing the Ogres in Warp Flame, but the Ogres is coming to get you. One of the coolest theme songs in the game. Certainly going to be crumping. I know demons don't have any sustenance, but, you know, it's more about the gesture of feasting, right? So they get a nice charge. Ogre Bulls do slam jam, space jam into the Flamers of Tzeentch. Spawn are there to kind of protect them. But Ogres look like they might get a triple cap, man. They might get the triple cap. Lich109 says, you keep doing it intentionally and it'll make your way into your subconscious. Yeah, it's very true. Very astute analysis. Guys, the Ogres have come back with a triple cap and they're actually outvaluing right now. Traitor, the dreaded underdog here, with the Flock of Doom going down. Let's see what kind of damage this actually does on the Forsaken of Tzeentch. Maybe he'll eat my words. Maybe this is some secret tactic that Traitor has been working on in the shadows, but it appears to do okay. Not too much damage, I guess, but... Yeah, he's got a triple cap, man. Anticity's on the back foot. Now the Ogres have actually taken over in value. It seems like their basic units, like the Iron Fists and other things like that, have been trading super well here. He crawled out of the Great Maw, yes. Although I feel like the Great Maw wouldn't be too happy with this Slaughtermaster because he did not choose to use the lore of the Great Maw. A little bit of a jealousy going on. Even the Lead Belchers coming up, man. The Lead Belchers have moved up and they're using their big cannons to crush some of the pink horrors here with the Slaughtermaster. And obviously Anticity's build was very good at gooning in the beginning. Right, you have the triple iridescent horror, including the Herald, who is not a horror, but you guys get the picture. They're all kind of similar in functionality, but when they run out of ammo and you can't goon things anymore, suddenly the Ogres become much more durable. I think that's the classic case of like that early gooning doing an excellent job, but kind of running out of steam a little bit. Is the Kraken King going to be able to get back in this? He's currently down by about 3,500 value. Some blues are moving in, but nice intercept here by Traitor. He's able to get these guys up and intercept these blue horrors of Tzeentch. Very, very nice. But Kraken King knows. He's going to keep moving by. But look at this. Ogres is coming to get you. The dual weapon Ogres. And I love that I can like feel excited to see Ogre Kingdoms now that they're not just spamming Gorgers in different units because they're so damn cool. It's just when it was Gorgers and Iron Blasters, it just wasn't fun to watch or cast, honestly. So here they come. Ogre Bulls move it in. Somebody in chat asks, why would you bring Scrag instead of the Slaughtermasters? Well, Scrag has a unique buff for Gorgers and has his own unique items. So potentially Scrag, if you're going to be using a more Gorger-heavy army, is better. But Enticity withdraws, and the Ogres is coming to get you. We're going to game 3. The Duel of Fates is upon us. And the Traitor, the underdog here, coming in with the steel chair and getting a game off the Kraken King. So now it is 1-1. I thought he was in a lot of trouble, but of course, this is a big investment, these iridescent horrors and whatnot. And when they run out of ammo, the Ogres are going to be kind of persistent. Just a lot of Ogre Bulls, a lot of capture weight. That's really what this playstyle was. Man-Eater Pistols were obviously good for defending yourself in the beginning, because without Man-Eater Pistols, Tzeentch would just fly over your head and poke you. Spawn, of course, usually do okay, but in this match, they kind of got shut down a little bit. GG, well played. I really thought the Ogres were in some serious trouble there. That was a very, very scrappy match. So now we'll jump on to the next game, and we will do Death Pass for the next map. Let us see how this goes. The great Ma, Jack Ma appears, yeah. There you go. GG, well played, man. That was a really good match. Somebody play Nurgle? Nurgle could appear from the shadows. I think Nurgle's most likely in a best of 5. I just like, especially when the game's on the line. Like, if I were playing, I would pick Nurgle because I'm a Nurgle main. But I'm like one of like 5 Nurgle mains, I think. Yeah, I'm one of 5. I think there was, are you guys talking about the lore of the Ogre Kingdoms? Yeah, I'm sure it's kind of fun. The Ogres is coming to get ya. I gotta get the Ogre Kingdoms theme song on a button as well as Vampire Coast. Yeah, we'll see. But what will it be? Death Pass is the map. It is going to be Enticity, the Kraken King versus Traitor on the Ogre Kingdoms. And yep, that'll be that. So Enticity has played Tzeentch and he's played Kislev. Ogres are still on the table. Khorne's still on the table. Cathay, which I don't see him picking Grand Cathay. Granted, this is an okay map for Grand Cathay. Traitor has played Ogre Kingdoms and he has played Tzeentch. I would wager Khorne. Like, I would put some serious coin here on Khorne perhaps being picked. I think there's going to be a Khorne involved in this game, and maybe an Ogres. Like, Ogres versus Khorne, I have this conspiracy that it's going to end in that direction here. What other races would you like to see as DLC? I'd really like to see Middenheim, like Ulrich. I'd really like to see Musion. I'd really like to see Chaos Dwarves, obviously. Tilia and Astalia would be awesome to bring in more human factions to kind of balance out all the demons that we now have, and bad guys, sort of. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Brian Cheney, we definitely need a button board with Steven Seagal lines. I'll do it, man. I'll do it. There's a couple Steven Seagal lines I want to do. There's a really corny one where Steven Seagal's like watching this corrupt senator on TV. And he's like, I'll take you to the bank, Senator Trent, the blood bank. And then it just like, it's just so lame. Hey, Turn, are you going to create a new intro for your vids or bring back the old one? I'm going to actually probably have another one created. Yeah. I'll probably like have someone who actually knows what they're doing with editing do that. Slaanesh, maybe. Yeah. Nurgle mirror match incoming. I doubt it. There's not very many Nurgle players. There will be someday. Nurgle will get a DLC and then all the people will come over and, you know, yes. Yeah, they're asking me what map it is. It is Death Pass. For some reason, you couldn't see the change. Good luck, good luck. The players are working it out right now. I'm going to keep a tab on their picks and bans right now so I can kind of update you guys. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff for tournaments, including a new UI that will kind of include picks and bans in between matches. All right, so Khorne, Slaanesh, and what is that one? What faction is that? Khorne, Slaanesh, and okay, so Traitor banned Ogre Kingdoms. He's got Khorne, Slaanesh, and then there's another one. Is that, oh, Nurgle. Oh, shit. So Nurgle's one of his 3 picks. So how it works is, Traitor says, I pick Nurgle, I pick Khorne, I pick Slaanesh, and I ban your Ogre Kingdoms. Now, Enticity can pick from any of the remaining factions he hasn't played, with the exception of the Ogre Kingdoms, and then ban one of Traitor's 3 picks. And then Traitor picks from his remaining 2. Sounds a little bit complicated in theory, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes indeed. Frostlight, yeah. You and your dad like making fun of Steven Seagal. My dad and I used to love doing that too. Yeah. It was one of our favorite pastimes. When I was in college, he used to come visit and we would just like, it's the funniest thing because you would never expect this. Like my dad was, so he was an actor. He was in TV shows and he was also a Broadway actor too. He did Broadway. And like, you know, a lot of like that kind of stuff, right? A little fancier. And then like, when he would come to visit me, we would just be like hanging out in swimming trunks, watching like, you know, after you know, going and working out at the gym together, and then we would just like watch Steven Seagal movies and eat popcorn all night. It was so fun, man. And like he would do these like super perfect impersonations of Steven Seagal. It was the funniest shit ever. Oh man, some of my fondest memories. My dad. Hammond says, because you said Talea and Estelia, here's some money for... Thank you, man. Appreciate it, Hammond. Dude, the dreaded Nurgle. Oh, Grand Cathay, I think, is coming. He probably banned Khorne and picked Cathay. Yeah. Yeah, so he picked Cathay and he banned Khorne. And now Traitor has to do Nurgle or Slaanesh. Guys, the Nurgle dream is alive. I think Nurgle's better against Cathay than Slaanesh, honestly. It depends on how good of a Nurgle player you are. Oh, God. I believe in a thing called Nurgle. Just listen to the rhythm of your heart. It will happen. Come on. Oh, baby, it's Nurgle and Cathay. The two most haggard factions in the game meet to duel. And the prayers of the Plague God have been answered. It is time. Nurgle is here. It is time indeed. Where's Nurgle's Scythes and Melee Lords? They'll get them for sure, guys. Yeah, like, of course, Creative Assembly is not going to launch with fully fledged rosters of everything because, you know, they have to keep the game content flowing for a long time. This isn't like the 90s and early 2000s when games released with all their content. Why is Nurgle better than Slaanesh? You know what? I feel like Cathay can cheese Slaanesh super hard because Slaanesh cannot play Air Force. Okay, so what happens is Cathay just goes like double Skyjunk, double Longma, and just like dumps on your Air Force and then shoots you on the ground, and Slaanesh is just down there suffering. Like, Enticity probably has a super cheesy Cathay build for Slaanesh, whereas Nurgle can use Rotflies, Furies. Like, they can field a strong Air Force. Nurgle can, especially after the changes. Hammond, thanks for becoming a member. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. I think Cathay is favored versus Slaanesh. And I think Cathay is favored versus Nurgle, but not by as much. This is exciting, man. This is fun. Welcome, Hammond. The Dukes of Haggard grow in numbers. I see many green names in chat. Greatly appreciate it, guys. Welcome, welcome. Dude, Nurgle is going to have the coolest shit. You know they're going to have some cool lords. Yeah, Tamarkon is going to be super rad when they add him eventually. Or it. I don't even know if it's like... I think it's like a slug or something. But, yeah, it's going to be super cool. So Nurgle versus Grand Cathay. I don't know if I want to wait to see their old picks here, guys. I kind of want to take a gander and see what they're up to. All right, so switching on over here. See the brackets for the day. These individuals are playing for the top 4 spot. Okay. Oh my God. Wow, these are some builds, all right. Jeez. These are some serious builds. I love it. Okay, so Traitor apparently plays some Nurgle. I like his build. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's pretty solid indeed. Switching back over, I will join you all here. Particular Play Paint. Thank you for the 40. I have no idea what currency that is, but I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And the Play God smiles on you this day. Yes, he does. Yeah, they should just add more Tarian from 40k. Just some huge demon Primarch just coming in and just shooting his pistol. And yeah. Did we see Kugath? No, definitely not. Like a single Cathay Grand Cannon is going to just wreck Kugath. He's just going to be thrown in the trash can. The Nomi says, Turin, YouTube took my name away halfway through the stream. Bad way to learn. Oh, no. Nomi, no, dude. No worries, brother. I appreciate you. Is there any reason to pick a generic lord over Dragon Lords besides the money? Yeah. Because by going with a generic Cathay Lord, you have a lot more money to spend. Yeah, I mean, money is really the main reason. Like, look, if you had infinite money, you'd always take the biggest, baddest unit. But the generic Cathay Lords allow you to bring a lot more stuff and cover more ground. Whereas the Dragon Lords are a little bit better for, like, gooning and that type of thing. It's an Indian rupee. Right on, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Do you do some hobby painting yourself, particular play paint? If so, what are the armies you're working on? I'd be quite curious to hear. Do let me know. If they added Mortarian, we could watch him get shot down by a bunch of Bretonnian peasants. That's true. That's probably how it would go. That's kind of what happens in tabletop too. Except they get shot down by typically some sort of Tau or some funny business like that. The Jade Amulet is very good. It is. It essentially gives you like infinite, Winds of Magic regeneration. It's a crazy, crazy powerful item. The Dragon-Blooded Lords do not... Oops, did not mean to click that, but it's fine. Enticity would never do such a thing. But yeah, the Jade Amulet and the Winds of Magic you can get is pretty insane. Another really good combo with Cathay is bringing the Astromancer and just bringing him for the Cloak of Pomei, which gives you a base 60% Winds of Magic recharge rate when he's out of combat. It's crazy, crazy good. The generic caster lords can cast so much with the Jade Amulet. Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. Like, bringing the basic caster of Yang and just, like, spamming the fire spells is really good. Wow, look at the build, actually, from Enticity. So he's coming in with triple Longma Rider, with a cannon, double Iron Hail Gunner, and Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon. Quite an epic build indeed. He was probably expecting Nurgle to try and contest the skies, right? Because Nurgle might want to do that to try and, you know, shut down your shooting and stuff. But Nurgle did not do that. They did the Walking Dead style, which is like Mass Plague Bearers. It's what the video we put up today. Although I use Nurglings mostly. Forsaken are good against Cathay, though. We got double Cultists and a Herald. Herald with good micro should be able to land on the ground and or evade the Cathay forces, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem there. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Quintus says, it's 4:30 in the morning, and I say, oh, Turin is streaming. Yes, man, you're in the right place. We're having a good old jolly time here. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. It is going to be Traitor, the champion of the Plague God, looking to get into the grand finals. We got Plague Bearers into the Sunset, backed up by Forsaken. Herald is on foot, man, so he's really privy to the Air Force cheese. He does have the Herald and the double Cultists on foot, and just a mass amount of infantry just to kind of play the objectives, which I think is really, really good, and I think this is the proper way to play Nurgle. For Grand Cathay, we have a single cannon, which will do some damage. There's not really any great targets, though. We have double Iron Hail Gunner. We do also have a couple Longma Riders and Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon. Here she comes. So the idea is to probably move up with shooting, shoot the Nurgle units. If they send any Furies or Toads, you intercept them with the Longma Riders, and you live long and you prosper. That's going to be great. And Miao Ying does have the healing spells, and that's pretty much it. So no Talons of the Night, which is interesting. Talons of the Night is super good against Nurgle infantry blobs. Alpha Omega, Turin, you inspired me to read the Aaron, the ADB books, the Black Legion on Vacation, 10 out of 10. They're really good, aren't they? Yeah, they're really, really good. I love those books. I definitely love them. Particular Playpaint says, I do paint, but not models. Not much of a market for wargaming or miniatures here in India, sadly. Ah, it's a shame, man. Yeah, and they don't deliver there. That's too bad, man. Well, it's cool. Hey, hobby, you paint. And, yeah, treat yourself, dude. Treat yourself indeed. So Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon, awaits the Nurgle forces to set up. Nurgle's just going to be setting up in a giant potato line, so we do have the Plague Bearers of Nurgle. Just all across, as well as the Forsaken. Forsaken are here, and they're probably just going to run through the trees. That's what I would do with the Forsaken, too. You know, just like, because Longma Riders will fight very bad in the forest. So you just move them up through the trees here, and then, like, capture the capture points when they open up. Like, 2 Forsaken sticking together in the tree line would be enough to fight off 3 Longma Riders, probably, because Longmas will be penalized fighting in the forest because they're large. Infantry are not. Plague Bearers of Nurgle moving up to get control over the objectives. It looks like it's going to be some basic Jade Warriors. So Enticity does not have any chevrons on them, just basic Jade Warriors, which I believe do lose the Plague Bearers. Not, like, decisively, but it's a... Talk about, like, a limp fight. It takes a long time to get resolved there. Storm Dragon's going to be moving up. What I think Kraken King will do is probably spam range units to try and outvalue the Nurgle army, and then he's going to be summoning in Terracotta Sentinels at that point. So Forsaken moving across, going to be heading over to the second objective right here. And Furies have now come from the other side. Of course, Enticity is going to see this right away, which I would imagine Traitor will see it as well. Want to pull those Furies back. You don't want to give any free value, and he does see it, and what you do is you just run them back to your army, and then you land them on the ground. And that's how you're going to do it. Which Dragon Lord is better against Nurgle? I would actually say the Iron Dragon. But if you're going to be going with Terracotta Sentinels, I think that Miao Ying is better. It depends on how you want to play, but like right now, Iron Dragon could be using his like breath attacks to harass his army pretty well. We have 2 units of Forsaken moving up and through the forest here. Objectives will be opening up soon. Fury's chasing, getting chased into the corner of the map, which I think is good for Nurgle. I think if they just keep waddling, and Nurglings are going to head on over to objective number 1. Nurgle, this is how you play. You basically get on all 3 objectives, you tarp it, and you might get outvalued, but you can often win on points just by having really tanky bodies and all sorts of things like that. Michael says, does anyone in chat use the words haggard, chungus, or potato, or other words in everyday life after coming to the streams? I have found that, like, when there's certain streams I watch, and like the vernacular they use, it becomes part of my everyday kind of usage for sure. So yeah, the fighting's about to start. The Iron Hill Gunners, I'm curious to see what kind of damage they're actually going to be able to do here. So these ladies and their shotguns going to be blasting into the Plague Bearers of Nurgle. And I do not think the Furies got caught. No, they didn't. Nurgling's moving over to that objective. I love the Forsaken play here. I think this is so good. Because it's going to take Cathay a lot to wrestle that objective away from you. But Cathay is going to be unleashing its cannons in the middle, currently values at about 360. Points are opening up in 40 seconds, and currently Nurgle is hiding its characters, but I think it's time to bring them out. These guys need to go. Needed to drop a Plague Bearer summon right here and push back these range units. They need to get busy because the Plague Bearers are, pretty independent units for the most part, but still being unsupported. They're going to get Last Samurai. They're very, very slow, but they do have a massive HP pool, these guys do. It's pretty thick for sure. Also, a slight mistake with the Nurgle army here. I think he engaged a little bit too early. I think you want to wait for the objectives to open before you engage. Although I guess he wanted to kind of secure some ground there. And now we get the 2 Forsaken moving, which Long Marauders will do okay, but Forsaken will actually fight against them very, very well there. So they are being kept in check. Plague Bear is still waddling up. Some of them have engaged against the Jade Warriors, and we have some Forsaken or Plague Bear sitting on the back objective as Nurglings are being poured in. And now the double Cultists of Nurgle will start to cause some problems. And the Nurgle Toads also brought in. So these are Pox Riders. Pox Riders will not trade super well against Longmas, nor will they trade great against the old Storm Dragon right here. So they're paying a bit of a price. As the Forsaken do move on to the back objective. Now, here they come. Forsaken into the Peasant Horsemen will be a Forsaken favored fight. Nurgle going to be summoning in some Chaos Furies, as the Forsaken do get sandwiched, but it looks like it's going to be a Nurgle sandwich as well. As the Forsaken of Traitor in the back are going to be piling onto the Great Long Marauders and should poison them and do some decent sustained combat damage. So Nurgle has objectives 1 and 2, so they're going to start going up on points pretty heavily. And for Nurgle, the big thing is just kind of pouring your units through. Ooh, really nice Stream of Corruption right there. Really, really nice. Beautiful one. Hits both Peasant Archers as well as the Iron Hill Gunners. Plague Bears of Nurgle are certainly paying a bit of a price with the shooting, but for the most part, Nurgle is cackling. Yeah, they're holding the objectives pretty well here, guys. As the Kraken King is forced back a little bit, but he does have a ton of concave fire, and he's massively outvaluing the Nurgle army. But that's standard fare, because right now Nurgle has him triple capped, which is very much the playstyle for Nurgle. You take a beating for the Plague God, you use summons, you just spam tanky infantry. That's really tough for Cathay to remove from your objectives. Like for Nurgle right now, I wouldn't be against them summoning in like more Plague Bears onto the middle and starting to waddle, because Cathay is going to take a long time to get this side objective back. It is going to be a long, long time for sure. Plague Bears, as well as the old Peasant Archers, ripping some shots from downtown. And I believe these are summoned Plague Bears, here for another 30 seconds. Going to be pushing into the Iron Hill Gunners, should be able to kind of keep them in check. Look at this, the Forsaken and Furies actually able to trade super well here, but some of the Furies actually got back up in the sky, which is a slight micro mistake. You want to land them back on the ground with the Forsaken support, otherwise the Longwas are going to get like 1500 value for free right there, and these Forsaken just sitting on the back of the objective, making sure nothing bad happens. Looks like Jade Warriors and other units going to be moving to Objective 1. Currently, Cathay is triple capped. And again, this is the Nurgle playstyle. When you go to play Nurgle in multiplayer, you kind of accept this. And this is very much how they play in tabletop too. They often get shot off the table, but Nurgle will win on objectives. You're going to run out of time in terms of like scoring points and things like that. I guess it depends on the game mode you're in, but that's been my experience with Nurgle. Like with Death Guard, you often will lose the actual like pure attrition fighting, but you win on objectives because you're able to kind of control points of the board, because your opponent has to be in a little bit more of a defensive posture. Now, Furies here are getting wrecked pretty bad, unfortunately. They weren't landed. They could have been landed on the ground. Forsaken here. I think Nurgle might want to send like a single Nurgling over here to reinforce as well. But it looks like they're just going to be pouring bottles on the middle. Bodies. Forsaken and Plague Bears and a couple different units. They're all going to be waddling up, as some Jade Warriors actually do get on the capture point. So Nurgle, I kind of like the Nurgle Foot Herald too. I feel like he's like a decent presence on the objective. And now the Jade Warriors have made it. Forsaken on their way over. And it looks like Cathay is going to be sending some Jade Warriors and Peasant Spears. This is not going to work. This is going to take, I mean, they would eventually beat this, but if the Nurglings just like tarp at them, like the game will be over by the time these two units kill Nurglings. Like Jade Warriors' damage output is terrible, and Peasant Spears are even worse, right? So Nurgle coming in with the Steel Chair so far, able to get some decent attacks against the Storm Dragon. I'm really surprised we're not seeing Terracotta Sentinels. I feel like they're pretty good here, but the Forsaken do make it up on the objective before the Jade Warriors can intercept them and push them off the side. And the Forsaken should win that. The Jade Warriors are already very damaged. And now there's 2 more Plague Bears that you have to remove. And even though Grand Cathay is up by 5,000 value, Nurgle has healing. So with the healing taken into account, the value lead is probably more like, I don't know, 4,000, 3,000, 3.5. I don't know how many really cost-effective heals he's gotten, but still, it's very, very good. Back objective here being held, but it looks like Grand Cathay is going to be able to take this one back. So the 2 Jade Warriors will move here. So this is a big win for Cathay. Does Nurgle have any more reinforcements coming? He does have some Nurglings. Nurglings will buy some time on this objective here, and they're going to be holding it down. Lich109 says Nurgle and Fantasy play quite a bit differently, but that's a bit of a long discussion. Makes sense. It makes sense. In 40k, it's about just considering the shooting. Nurgle typically just holds the objectives and hopes they make their saves. Cathay is actually threatening the middle objective, but if the Plague Bears, this is actually really big for Enticity. If Enticity is able to get this, I think Nurgle might struggle to get it back, but with the 2 Plague Bears moving up, I think that's going to give Nurgle the capture weight back. And like I said over here, these units, like, aren't going to be super great. Fury's coming in. Fury should be able to defeat Peasant Horsemen, no problem, especially since they didn't get the charge. And Enticity is threatening all 3 objectives right now, but this is going to be a situation where Cathay does need a triple cap. So what you want to start doing now, if you're a Nurgle player, is you want to start allocating your resources to like your most defensible objectives, probably. These Nurglings will maybe buy a little bit of time for you here. Like, they might delay the Cathay cap for a moment, but it's time for Helm's Deep. So you have a good army fighting in the middle. I don't think you allocate any more resources on that objective. What you want to do with Nurgle is start sending like everything you have to the corner of the map, probably. Because, you know, you've got a decent situation there. Granted, I guess maybe the Spears are going to capture this. We got more and more Furies coming and Nurglings coming as well. You know, it's getting a little bit dicey. But it looks like Nurgle, with the dreaded shutout, potentially, man. The Walking Dead are here. And Cathay probably needed some Terracotta Boys. I don't know, because they didn't really have the stopping power to actually fight on the objectives. Yeah, their shooting was great, and they're up on value, but, you know, you got to have a little bit of a meat to get in there and fight as well. And that's kind of the concern with it. Oh, look at the Stream of Corruption. Huge, bro. Huge. Really nice there by Traitor. Really, really nice. But Nurgle might lose his capture point. He might lose it, man. And then Cathay's going to get on the board. And I think this back objective, though, is being held by Papa Nurgle. And Nurglings are on their way over there. Cathay now has 2 objectives. They're going to get this one. And Cathay does get it. It's time for Helm's Deep, ladies and gentlemen. Nurgle needs to hold this objective because I think if they lose it, I don't know, man. They still do have Plague Bears fighting in the middle. They might be able to re-wrestle this objective now that Grand Cathay is running over there. Like, Nurgle has a chance of recapturing this. And Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon, is being circle beaten by the Herald as well as the 2 cultists. So, yeah, man. This is getting wild. This game's getting certainly quite hot and heavy. That's the objective here. Looks like Nurgle's going to be able to hold it as the Nurglings do arrive on the objective point. We do have the Jade Warriors with some decent capture weight, but Nurgle's just going to be sending all hands on deck. And it looks like they're even threatening the middle again with the Plague Bears. And a lot of the Cathay units that were on the objective were range units. So with the Plague Bears eventually getting into combat with them, they're really going to be cutting through them like butter. I mean, Peasant Horsemen against these guys, they have like 50 weapon strength almost. Plague Bears hit very, very hard. And they should be able to tarp it here. So, like, the triple Longbow Riders were very cool for battlefield control, but in terms of what they could play on the objectives, like, it seems like they didn't provide that much. Nurgle is actually catching up on value now, too. They're only down by 1,000, which means they're basically winning on value. Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon, going to be Tokyo drifting away, doing a defeated anime run. As Nurgle coming in with the steel chair, quite literally, is able to win on objectives, it looks like. They have this one. The middle is going back for Papa Nurgle as well. Objective 3 is taken by Cathay, so Cathay is able to hold that down. And man, oh man, what a nice upset here for sure. Really, really good games by both players, but I just don't think the Kraken King has enough staying power. He's kind of desperate, you know. That's the thing. Nurgle is going to wear you down over a game, and if you don't do enough damage, they'll get you. GG, well played. Nurgle with the steel chair. Well played to Enticity. A Terminator for sure, and I absolutely know he'll be back winning tournaments. But for now, Traitor will be advancing on. Excellent play from him, making Papa Nurgle proud, and is going to be facing off the Grand Finals. Cathay is okay, but they're not like amazing. Yeah, they're probably one of the worst factions still. All right, but so is Nurgle. Nurgle is definitely like decent against Cathay, and the Walking Dead is the way to play Nurgle. I'm telling you, it's a video we put up today. You go for the width, man. GG, well played. Great games by both players here. Oh, that was you playing? Yeah, you were the Nurgle King. All right, you can be the Nurgle King, but you gotta get a couple more Nurgle games under your belt. You got to before we have it be common nomenclature. GG, dude. GG. That was an amazing game. So now we move on to the Grand Finals. Traitor, you can go ahead and stay in the lobby. And let's go ahead and update the scorecard. Traitor, please also go update the website too, so we can take a look. Okay. So 1 second here. Where are we at? Trying to find the goodness. Cathay, yeah, Cathay's probably going to get some sort of a DLC to buff them or something. Yeah, I would imagine that's going to be the case. That's kind of the hard part about balancing this game. All right, so it is going to be Traitor GG against Neil the Batman Freak. Uh-oh. Batman versus Traitor in the grand final. Nurgle bullied no longer. Yeah, that's how Nurgle plays. But I mean, I think Anticity's build with the triple Longbow was a very big investment, like a very linear thing, and they're not really good against Plague Bears or against Forsaken. So like that's the thing. Anticity's army was fighting. Like if he had gone with a really wide army, like Jades and Crossbows in his starting army, I think he could have won that. He could have blasted Nurgle off, but the Longbows weren't very effective, and I think he paid the price for that. All right, so Anticity's still in the lobby. That was game 3, if I'm not mistaken, right? I see Enticity in chat. Let me go ahead and double check. Yeah, he's saying GG, well played. GG. All right. So let me go ahead and get the next opponent here, which is going to be Neil, the Batman Freak. And the first map is going to be Arnheim because it's just super good. And then we'll do probably Eye in the North and then Battle for Itza after that. Alrighty. Arrow, how you doing, man? I got home like 2 hours after it started. Oh, that's a shame, man. I'm going to be doing more nighttime tournaments too, though, to give individuals in different time zones a chance to play. Because if I just host them all in the mornings, then folks in Australia and the United States and you know, South America, a lot of places, Canada, are going to have a little bit of a harder time playing. So yeah. Well played, Enticity, man. You're a true champion. Looking forward to seeing you come back. Enticity defeated 2 tournament winners today to get to the grand finals. Even Star and Platypus. So big props to him, and I'm sure he'll be back. All right. Well played. Yeah, and what's really cool about the tournament scene right now is there's so many new faces. Like, that's the big thing about Domination mode. Like, when I still do host land battle tournaments, and I enjoy them, but it's usually the same crew of people. But Domination mode has pulled in a lot of new people, I think, because it's a more traditional, you know, balanced RTS experience. So it's a little bit more accessible than having to memorize pamphlets of rules to be able to play a game, you know. All right, so let us load in here. Got to update the old scorecards, and the players can start on their picks and bans. Map is set. It is going to be Traitor versus Batman. Batman's coming in. The Dark Knight Rises. That's actually the name of the movie, isn't it? That's right. All right, guys. I'm going to go grab some water real quick. I will BRB. Hang tight, and we'll see you in just a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I returned. Sorry, I was getting some water, hanging out. And yeah, life's good. Enticity in chat saying, well played to Traitor. Losing at Tzeentch versus Ogres is a big for me, but a big learning experience. Yeah, it was a really good match, man. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing you back. There's another big tournament tomorrow morning. Dov Plays is hosting one, and it's being hosted on Total Tavern, which means so any tournaments that are hosted actually on the website will count towards the season, as long as they're a competitive format, like 2v2s and things like that. We, you know, like casual, like weird rules tournaments, they're not going to feed into the leaderboard, like siege tournaments, all that stuff. Enticity said, so I just thought I could outvalue and shoot him off the point faster. Didn't realize his units would be so hard to kill. Yeah, Ogre's Iron Fists are actually really tough to kill for Tzeentch. You know, the small arms fire definitely gets mitigated by that quite a bit. Oh, yeah, buddy. You know what? Yeah, the Fire Rain Rocket might have actually been good against that Nurgle build. Enticity says, to be honest, I thought it'd be an easy win, so I didn't think about how the hubris brought you down. Hey, there's Tech Elite in chat. He is the traitor. So GG's, man. Some good sports. Do you ever think there will be a DLC about friends rather than rivals? Yeah, you know what? I think that could be the case. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, DLC packs coming out that aren't, like, Lord versus Lord anymore, but rather it's, like, yeah, it just kind of covers a couple bases. All right, so, taking a look here at the Ogre army. It's going to be Traitor here on the Slaughtermaster of Beasts. And he has that Flock of Doom. He's got the Flock of Doom again that he used against Enticity. I don't think the Flock of Doom did that great, though, but I don't know. Maybe it did, and I didn't notice. A triple Lead Belcher with Mass Nobblars and a bunch of Ogre Bulls. That is some heavy shooting. Very risky. Could certainly be compromised, but again, if the shooting is like what you could do here on this map, right? So Slaanesh is going to want to surround you. So you could like, how would you do this? You could like set up your army like this. So Slaanesh has like no room to flank you. You could have your guys right here, like your shooty boys, and then like slowly push out as you shoot them off the objectives. Or you could even go here, right? Like have your battle line here, your shooting guys here. But like the problem is you can get trapped really easily and just like, you know, collapsed on. So you could pay the iron price there, right? You could pay the iron price. Pretty fun seeing Nurgle in action. The Walking Dead, I think, is the best Nurgle playstyle. Like width for days. But yeah, that's the Ogre army. Mostly Nobblars, a couple Lead Belchers, and then we do also have the Slaughtermaster. Now taking a look here at the Batman Freak. It is going to be mass width using the Marauders of Slaanesh, which is very standard in tandem here with the Chaos Furies. Up in the hills, Exalted Keeper of Slaanesh. Interesting. We almost never see the Exalted Keeper. Usually it's a Herald or usually Inkari as well. But this thing does have anti-large, so it has a little bit more of a niche against the forces of the Ogre Kingdoms. But Pavane of Slaanesh is a nice rampage ability. So you have that plus Fascination. And then Acquiescence plus Seductive Glory is the passive. Yeah, not passive, but a bound ability. So no whip ability against Ogres, which is actually not bad at clearing out Nobblars and things like that. Aerocrastic says, Slaanesh seems kind of boned on this map. Yeah, it's maybe not a pick, and you know that's very much a thing in other RTS games as well. So I don't mind there being variants where certain factions are better on certain maps, as long as it's like kind of diverse. Because the thing is, in Age of Empires, like competitive, like certain maps are much better for certain civs. In StarCraft 2 competitive, in StarCraft 1, Brood War, certain maps are better for Protoss, Terran, Zerg. And it's kind of a known thing, and it goes into the pick and ban process, which I think is kind of interesting, actually. Hellstriders jumping into the Nobblar Trappers here, but the Nobblar Trappers are able to push them back a little bit. Yeah, these are the anti-large. I mean, without their anti-large bonus, their stats are pretty pitiful, right? And the Nobblar Trappers can actually trade okay with them, but Slaanesh does have some basic Marauders up here who should be able to keep the little goblins off. Now, is the Slaanesh army going to be fighting early? It looks like there's going to be a big collapse coming down from the hills. So we do get the Hellstriders and all the Cav units looking to hammer in, while the big Greater Demon just kind of sits, very majestic looking. It's going to be trying to find its way in. So anti-large Cav slamming into the Ogre Bulls. They do get the downhill charge, so the Ogre Bulls going to be a little bit of a disadvantage there. While Slaanesh does scream through from a couple different angles. Batman's getting in fast and furious, and here comes the big Keeper. So the Keeper does jump on top of the Slaughtermaster, and are there any buffs being popped? We do see Seductive Glory being used to lower melee defense, but you have to lose or be below 80% HP to actually be Rampage. So the Rampage effect doesn't go off, but obviously the Keeper of Secrets is going to kick the butt here of this Slaughtermaster, that's for sure. One of the Marauder Spears taken down, Furies coming from all directions, which of course is very strong. But big Ogre Cav coming down. These are the Mournfang Cav with great weapons, and they move down from the hill and they absolutely crush these mortal Cavs. So the Hellstriders are going to be running for the hills, and man, I did not expect to see Mournfang Cav coming in this game. That's pretty wild. Now the Exalted Keeper seems to have missed most of its attacks. It seems like the Slaughtermaster's been holding on like a champ, which is certainly a very unfortunate situation for Slaanesh. It seems like they're really looking to win that one. However, the Cav do kill some of the Lead Belchers here, so the Lead Belchers are paying a bit of a price. There's Furies up in the sky who probably will go take down these Lead Belchers over here. And obviously, yeah, now the Greater Demon is starting to wear down the Slaughtermaster, and he doesn't have any healing, so that's going to be pretty good. In terms of value trading, guys, it is like dead even at this point. Although, here comes the Furies, very cost-effective. Ogres do not have any support nearby to protect these bad boys. These Lead Belchers are for sure going to get broken, unless some Ogre Bulls maybe turn around and try and peel for them. But Slaanesh is fighting very, very well. Obviously losing some units here, but Slaanesh getting a pretty effective trade into the Slaughtermaster. And Flock of Doom going down, the old dreaded Flock of Doom. It does hit the Hellstriders as well as the Marauders with Spears, which continue to move in. Objectives have opened up. Objective 1 is still neutral. Slaanesh is a little bit more focused on value trading than playing the objectives right now. Number 2 is not being taken by anyone, and number 3 is going to be taken by Slaanesh most likely, as they do have some Marauder Spears here. Sweet Sorrow is activated, so Sweet Sorrow is the full army ability here for Slaanesh. It gives their entire army speed and vigor, which is pretty cool. Sorry, guys. Having some allergies today, it is what it is. But the old Exalted Keeper, going to be karate chopping in. The Pavane of Slaanesh is down. Rampage is active, and this Exalted Keeper is still fighting here and doing pretty well. But it looks like the Exalted Keeper may be thinking about running away here. Let's see what kind of value it got. About 900. Almost got the Slaughtermaster down. I wouldn't be opposed to staying there and fighting, honestly. We still had some Marauder support, but I guess pulling back, playing it a little bit safer is going to be the way. Big Flock of Doom going down. That's a good one. Hits the Marauders, hits the spawn of Slaanesh. Not that it does much against the spawn, but the Exalted Keeper looks like it's going to be returning the favor with some sort of a magic. I think, is that the Slaaneshi Snare ability, or is that still just the Flock of Doom? No, I think that's just the Flock of Doom aura. Now, up in the hills, Ogre Kingdoms have pulled up on value. It looks like they've been starting to outvalue the forces of Slaanesh. We have Iron Guts up here. Iron Guts are heavily armored, so the non-armor piercing spears of Marauders will not do very much against them. And Hellstriders also lack armor piercing as well, so Iron Guts are actually a surprisingly nice niche choice against Slaanesh. Slaanesh does have good armor piercing via Seekers, but we're not seeing any of those. And now this Slaaneshi Lord has moved up, going to be attacking the Iron Guts in the back. I think that's a pretty decent little choice there. But it seems like Slaanesh really is on the ropes, where now they're going to be desperately starting to play for the objectives here. I think the Mournfang Cav were kind of an X-factor, man. Like, all the Slaanesh Cav that they've encountered, look at that, 105 kills, 1,600 value on these Mournfang Cav, dude. That's so cool. So Traitor with all the innovations here, bringing in the Mournfang Cav against Slaanesh, which you would never think are good. But yeah, they're going to X going to give it to this Exalted Keeper of Secrets for sure, as they got their big beaten sticks. And the Keeper of Secrets immediately takes some pretty substantial damage. It does rampage the Mournfang Cav. Not that that's going to do too much for you. Keeper's relatively surrounded here. And Narcissism also used, which is going to be snaring down the Mournfang Cav. Good usage, allows the Keeper to escape. But looks like the Ogres are going to be having a pretty consistent grab on most of the objectives here. They're pushing back the Slaaneshi infantry here. Hellstriders moving into the back. And, you know, Slaanesh has been considered to be a really good pick against Ogres for a period of time. Even when Ogres were really overpowered with Gorgeous and Iron Blasters, we were seeing Slaanesh probably going 50-50 against Ogres, which was pretty good. But it seems like the dreaded Slaughtermaster here has figured out a way to deal with the Dark Prince's legions. Mournfang Cav still just going deep up here, man. And value accrued so far, they're up to 2,200 value on the Mournfang Cav. Those things are just doing the work of the Great Maw. Now it's probably only a matter of time before the objective is taken. So the Iron Guts and the Mournfang Cav will probably simply move back here, grab this objective, and yeah, they're moving up some Noblars to kind of hold it for the long term so those units aren't kind of stuck there. Leadbelcher's blasting away. I would imagine that the Keeper is going to be the target. And yep, looks like the Leadbelcher shooting into the Keeper of Secrets. Slaanesh doesn't really have much left across the map. We do have a couple of Marauders of Slaanesh. But Objective 3 is still on. Yeah, like Slaanesh is going to be throwing Cav, and they do have the advantage of the back like deployment in that their reinforcements can get here quickly. But I just think they're so far behind. Ogres have really kind of wrestled control of the game with some of the really favorable trades. And obviously, Ogre shooting on this map is really good, right? Like, you just summon in a Leadbelcher, Iron Blaster, and it can shoot like right away. Iron Blasters are still pretty good too, but the Mournfang Cav, I think, they came down from up here, and they like crushed the Slaanesh Cav here, and I think that kind of led to a bit of snowballing. Like, they took out a lot of units and really were able to kind of let the Ogres take over the game. And obviously, once you get ahead on value, it oftentimes can be a snowballing effect, especially, I mean, he's up on points too. Like, Ogres are going to be triple capping here, and I think Batman is going to be in a little bit of danger. A very valiant attempt by Batman. I liked the Exalted Keeper pick. I feel like it did some okay work, but for some reason it didn't seem to connect very much in the beginning when it really needed to. But yeah, I don't know. I think against Ogres, the Herald is still better because it allows you to go for a wider army and also summon Furies to shut down shooting, and you just get more stuff. Because against Ogres, you really need to kind of swarm them. So AF says, watching from lockdown in Shanghai, thank God for your turn, helping me get through it. Watched you for years and we'll continue. Hey man, appreciate it. Hope you're staying safe over there, my friend, and we'll keep it going for you. We'll keep it going for you. So here, what do we have? We have the old Ogre Bulls grinding. The Exalted Keeper of Secrets has been forced to pull back to the Shadow Realm. Flock of Doom going down. And that will most likely be game blouses here, as the Ogres do get the triple cap. They are cackling like the heathen kings of old, and Slaanesh the Dark Prince certainly not happy. I'm sure throwing a tantrum in the Realm of Chaos. As the Seekers of Slaanesh move in. Although, I don't know. I feel like the Chaos Gods can always find the silver lining in their situation, right? And they kind of have an indefinite amount of demons, essentially, so it's not like they really woe for the losses. And the Mortals, when they lose the Mortals, I mean, they're probably like, whatever, those guys sucked anyways. I feel like that's the attitude the demons would take. So, you know, it is what it is. Whereas, like, a true Sigmarite would really feel the loss of her brother, but, you know, demons are just like, whatever, another loss, we'll be back. See you guys in, like, 100 years. Like, peace. Like, we're not going anywhere. As long as you guys keep, you know, causing problems, we'll still be here. Mournfang Cav, just absolute chads. Sitting on the objective here. Look at them. 2,300 value, just looking super cool, just super chunky up on these big pig beasts. which is great. Looking great indeed. Flock of Doom going down. Slaanesh is getting to the point where it certainly would need to be a triple cap. Doesn't feel good. Flock of Doom doing a little bit of damage against that Exalted Keeper. Not too much. It looks like the Keeper was healing from something. I think it wiped a unit out. So Mournfang Cav looking to get up to 3,000 value here in the game as Slaanesh continues to try and scrap its way back. Currently, if we look at the resources, the base is 20, and Slaanesh is probably getting like 25 per second right now, so it's not that crazy. Creative Assembly did just rework the come from behind mechanic, so it can't really be abused anymore. It's just kind of works as intended now, which is good. But yeah, man, it's gonna be good. Looks like it's in the bag for Traitor, unless Batman has some secret tricks. Well, you know the Dark Knight always has schemes. Neil is certainly no slouch here, and had a very, very nice early round game. Leadbelcher's up on the high ground. Will be unleashing hell. Talk about a great position. They literally can like line of sight the entire Slaanesh army. Oh, they're so cool. Hear the rumbling of the Ogre shooting as they shoot in, I believe, at the Exalted Keeper and or the Seekers. It's hard to tell. I think they're going for the big Keeper who was on the move, so maybe they missed, but they will be lining up their shots here. Question from chat. What do you think will be the toughest matchup for Empire and Wood Elves? I think Empire will struggle against like very infantry heavy factions. Like, although I mean they have some good anti-infantry tools, but I feel like Khorne. I feel like Khorne will actually be pretty decent against Empire. Like I feel like Empire will counter Nurgle super hard just because of super wide shooting, like Huntsmen, Archers, Volkmar the Grim. But yeah, it depends. It depends on the situation. GG, well played. Game 1 going to the Ogres. The meta is going to be so hog wild, guys. It's going to be so hog wild. Oh, that's right. This is best of 5, isn't it? So I need to change the plate. Thank you for reminding me, my friend. This is the grand finals. God, I'm such a potato, dude. Jesus. I mean, potatoes are awesome, but... Here we go. I need to set it up so like it auto updates with the scoreboard, like I have everything else set up. All right, so game 1 is going to be going to Traitor and his Ogre Kingdoms. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the triple Leadbelcher would not have expected that. I would be a little bit too nervous to bring that many Leadbelchers against Slaanesh, but Slaanesh actually opened with the Heartseeker too. The Heartseekers, I think, got crushed pretty bad by the Mournfang Cav. Yeah, Mournfang Cav, casual 2,700 value. Big, big MVP right there. Awesome game. Awesome game. Huntsman will be very good against Ogres. Yeah, Ogres will be fine against Empire, though. I think they'll be good. All right, so it is 1-1. The next map here is going to be the Eye in the North. So going back to one of the more old school maps, and then we'll do Battle for Itza after this. We got to showcase those new maps. Yeah, Dryads for Wood Elves will be very good against Demons. The physical, the magic damage against all the physical resist will be very, very good, I think. Very solid indeed. The Dryads will whip them branches out and do some good work. That is for sure. Slaanesh may fare pretty well against Wood Elves with their speed. Yeah, perhaps so, but they're very squishy too. They're very, very squishy. What do you think will be the most haggard faction? I mean, okay, if today they added in all the old world factions, I think Cathay would be the most haggard faction. Because, like, why would you ever play Cathay when you have Empire, you know, or Dwarves? Like, Dwarves are just, like, a way better Cathay. Yeah, sure, they don't have, like, a Terracotta and a Dragon Lord, but they have better infantry, they have better shooting, they're just better than Cathay, in my opinion, at what they do. And then also, like, better fighting power and objectives. Like, Dwarves can actually kick some butt. Like, their Longbeards hit hard. You know, Slayers are there. Like, Cathay just is a bit of a wet noodle in melee. Cathay will get there. When Cathay gets, like, some good changes in terms of like some new units and DLCs, I'm sure they'll be great. I think Cathay would probably be the most haggard, yeah. Do you think 3 Blood Knights could solo Nurgle? No, I don't think so, because Blood Knights aren't great at killing infantry, so if Nurgle comes in with like 1,000,000 Plague Bearers and just waddles towards you, like you're going to be like, oh, my Blood Knights aren't useful now. Nurgle actually will be good against Vampire Counts, in my opinion. I think Nurgle will be good. Like, spam Plague Bearers, they're not going to run, and then bring a Mortis Engine, Great Unclean one, and like, I think Nurgle will be good against Vampire Counts. Aerocrastic saying Slaanesh will get wrecked by Hawk Riders and Swift Shivers. Yeah, a fairly accurate speculation there, I would say. I think Slaanesh will probably get some DLCs and get some units that'll be better. You know, it's hard to say because the new factions aren't as fleshed out. You know, they're not as fleshed out. But I think in the hands of like top level players, I think Slaanesh will lose to Wood Elves for sure. Like, Slaanesh can't deal with freaking balloons right now. How the hell are they going to deal with Hawk Riders and like a Dragon Lord or like Sisters of Twilight? Oh my god. Bretonnia is going to be actually good in Domination. They have a Mortis Engine on a stick with the Fey Enchantress. They have tons of cheap infantry to hold objectives. They have good shooting with Peasant Archers. They have amazing Cav, which can hammer objectives like all over the map. I think Bretonnia is going to be pretty top tier, actually. Yeah, I think Bretonnia will be really good. Norsca would be a bit of a meme for sure if they don't get updated, but Guys, we have a Cathay versus Nurgle match. Dude, these two are just like bonded. All right, so Batman is on Nurgle this time. Grand Cathay is going to be played by Traitor. We saw Nurgle defeat Grand Cathay in the last best of 3 when Traitor was on Nurgle. Now, is Traitor going to be aware of how to defeat Nurgle? That is the question. That is the question. And you know what? I'm a little bit impatient here. So Old Man Turin's going to take a look at the builds. I have to get excited. Yeah, I dig it, man. I dig it. I think both builds are good. Cool. Just going to come down to gameplay. That is for sure. That is for sure. Turin, you think Nurgle is artificially buffed with the extra income? Nurgle having a bigger starting army is a big boon for them because their playstyle is to swarm and hold objectives and grind you down, which is easier when you have more stuff in the beginning. Like Nurgle as a more elite army, like I don't think is amazing, but when they can go wide, and Nurgle becomes better. So the point increase, or the starting funds increase helped Nurgle. I still think they're kind of a bottom tier faction, but I think they're a little bit safer than Cathay because they can just kind of consistently play the objectives. Greenskins are going to be sweet, dude. Oh, there's so many factions. There's so many factions. It's going to be so fun. God. CA, please. Give it to us. Give it to us. Yeah, Beastmen are going to be awesome. Like Torok's just running around. Vampire Coast will be really cool in the open field maps, just like nuking you off objectives with just fat, hot, steaming loads of Queen Bess. Like, come on, man. Come on. Zob Play says, wow, look at the bracket. I missed some things, it seems. So Dov, if you could right now, if you're here, if you could go to the tournament that's being hosted right now. So this is a good time for you to see how the back end works. You basically go to the tournament, and when you're hosting it, you click, when everyone has checked in, you click generate all. Or you click generate brackets, I think. Hold on, let me double check this. I'm just going to explain this to you while you're here, because I might not be up in the morning when you run your tournament. So yeah, you click, not generate all, excuse me. You click generate bracket, the one on the left. So you click the one on the left that says generate bracket. That will generate a bracket with everybody that's signed in. And then from there, if you go down to the bracket stop, you're going to notice different numbers below each match because you're a tournament admin. So go ahead and go to one of the matches and right click or just click on one of the numbers. That will take you to the back end of the website, where you can substitute people in, you can change the scores, you can do everything as a tournament admin. So go ahead and take a look right now so you can kind of familiarize yourself with that a little bit if you don't mind, if you're still here. Because I might not be up in the morning to help you with it. So now's the best chance you can get so you can like see all those things. Yeah, Torox is going to be awesome for sure. He is going to be an absolute beast. I dare say a super beast. Vampire Coast is going to be map dependent, I think. Well, Dov is running a tournament on the website tomorrow, so I figured I would kind of just give him a quick breakdown right there. All right, guys, so taking a look here, obviously, Traitor knows that Nurgle is going to be coming in with a super wide army, right? So he has a dragon-blooded Lord of Yang with the fire-breathing spell, a ton of Jade Warriors, a couple peasant archers, a cannon, and oh my god, an Astromancer on the Wu Jing Compass. Yes, dude. So this is the one situation you bring the Wu Jing War Compass, because it's only 400 gold on the Astromancer. Because you get the Cloak of Pome to get the Wind's Magic regeneration, and then you get the Nexus for another 20%, so you get 80, plus you get the Magic Intensity from the Master of Elemental Winds. So you just hide him in the back and let him charge. And just let him charge. So moving up are the forces of Grand Cathay. Grand Cannon's going to be shooting downtown. Nurgle does have its Nurglings, a massive Plague Bearer army, and a Soul Grinder also. Soul Grinder is a little bit risky because of Cathay cannons, but I mean, you can juke and scoot and shoot. It takes a lot of micro though. But you can like, in between the cannon shots, you can like turn and fire. So you can certainly do it. But for the most part, a second cannon being summoned in. So Cathay is going to be going cannon heavy, and we'll be blasting into that Soul Grinder, which is certainly getting its bread buttered. And is the Soul Grinder able to shoot? It is. One unit of Peasant Archers certainly gets hammered pretty good. Yes, the old Wu Jing War Compass, which I think is the worst unit on the roster if it's by itself. Did somebody actually win a competitive game with Nurgle? Yes, we did. We had it earlier. You got to go back and check it out. It was a really good match too. So Nurgle very comfortable on objective number 3. They got their 2 Nurglings. Plague Bearers waddling up to the middle. Soul Grinder here is certainly getting hammered pretty hard. Probably your best bet with the Soul Grinder would be to, let's summon the inner John Madden right here, would be to maybe run it, I don't know, where do you run the Soul Grinder? Okay, maybe you run the Soul Grinder down here, and like park it there. The cannons won't be able to see it, and it can still shoot here and here, and or fight in melee, excuse me, and actually be kind of effective. We will see. So Plague Bearers are now on the point. Objective's going to be opening up soon. Grand Cathay does have the fire breathing from the Dragon-Blooded Lord to get some breath attacks. I think if Nurgle ends up winning this game, like something's going to be wrong. Like the balance in the universe must be off if Nurgle manages to win 2 games in a competitive Grand Finals. Or tournament, I should say, top 4. But yeah, here you have the Plague Bearers trading into the Jade Warriors. Talk about a wet noodle contest. They're just going to be slapping each other all day. Really nice breath attack right there, able to melt those Plague Bearers. That spell is incredibly good at clearing out Nurgle units. But Nurgle does have a really good staying power here because the double cultists on the horseback, they sunder the armor of the Jade Warriors, making them exponentially weaker against the Plague Bearers and the Toads and all these units that are a little bit kind of on the weaker side against armor, right? Plague Bearers coming down right here. Objectives still have not opened up, but now the Sky Junk is here. Will Nurgle respond with Furies? I think it should. Furies coming out. 1 unit of Furies. And Cathay doesn't have the money to actually summon in longbows. So I actually think at this point, if Nurgle just keeps spamming out Furies and attacks the Junk, attacks back here, the only really effective way to defend against Furies is with, longbows, really. I mean, shooting, you can shoot them, but in my experience, it's not super effective. But Nurgle is obviously down on value, which, what else is new? That's pretty much always the case. But they are kind of handling the objectives. And look at this, we even got Plague Bearers on the back objective that have gotten here and are trying to push these peasants off, and some Forsaken of Nurgle as well. So Nurgle players take notes. Playing objectives is the way to do it. Really nice usage here. Chaos Furies jump on top, and it looks like the Dragon Breath is going to be going down. Does bring them down to about half health, so really nice cast there from the Dragon-Blooded Lord. I would imagine the Furies will probably jump on the cannons back here. That's probably what I would try and do. The Junk is being attacked, and more Furies are piling in from the skies, and definitely want to get on top of that cannon. Those cannons need to be shut down. They're going to get a ton of value over the course of the game. But this objective is being held by what appears to be the Nurgle forces. They have more capture weight, they have infantry galore. Back objective is held by Papa Nurgle. Some peasant spearmen from Traitor moving over here to try and get on this objective, but Nurglings themselves are actually better fighters than peasant spears. They're going to win in combat one-on-one. Spears are very, they're dedicated against large units, right? And Nurgle's doing it, man. The Walking Dead, I'm telling you, man. I knew this playstyle would take over of just spamming infantry. When the Plague Bearers got a speed buff, it just changed everything. Because with 23 speed, they were pretty much useless. Not useless, but it took forever. But now that they can actually get them into the battle at a decent rate, a very slow rate, mind you, but decent, it's quite big. But we do have 1 objective for Grand Cathay, actually. So Cathay actually had a little bit more capture weight. Yep, looks like some Jades came here and some Jades here. So Nurgle does have the 2 cap right now. Cathay certainly is outvaluing them by quite a bit in damage, but with the healing accounted for, it's probably only like a 2,000, 1,500 gold lead. And the Compass is just a magic battery, like you guys are discussing in chat. It just sits there and it generates magic. It is left in the back in purpose, because if the Astromancer is in combat, his cloak doesn't generate free winds of magic. So basically, you just leave that thing in the Shadow Realm. So now finally some Long Marauders have come in. They will be able to probably pressure these Forsaken and Plague Bearers off the objective. Some Peasant Horsemen charging into the back here. And it looks like Nurgle is probably going to be losing control of this objective. As such, Nurgle certainly needs to find a way to win in the middle and to get the Cathay forces off. And it looks like they are. The Toads and Plague Bearers seem to be having a pretty good fight against the forces of Grand Cathay here as they get their beaten sticks and they start wearing them down. A very, very epic fight here in the pits, the Herald of Nurgle. I actually just recently painted a Herald of Nurgle. It's pretty cool. I actually have a bunch of minis that I was... I have a Nurgle. I don't really care for Nurgle demons that much, but I do have a fair amount of minis of them. I thought about painting them as prizes for people. So for big tournaments, I would paint a couple. I would paint a mini from that person's favorite faction, like my wife and I would, and then send it to them as a little trophy. I feel like it'd be kind of fun, right? Just order a piece and whatever they want. We could paint it. Nurglings waddling over after the peasant archers. They're going to be tumbling and a rolling. So here they come. They're going to be popping some of that Nurgle popcorn all over the face of these 13 melee defense archers. Nurglings feeling like absolute chads for once in their life as they beat down those peasants. Middle objective, very, very close to going for Nurgle. The back objective still belongs to Nurgle, but not for long, as some Jade Warrior crossbowmen are moving onto the objective here, so we will see. Turin, is that the guy on the horse with the scythe? No, that is a different character. The Herald of Nurgle looks exactly like the Herald of Nurgle here. That is like a Harbinger or something. It's he has a different name. That is a different model for sure. But Nurgle's pretty close to wrestling this, I suppose, although it's looking a little bit bare bones. They have the double cultist, though, which has really good staying power. Really, really good stream of corruption. The Sky Junk up in the sky. I wonder what kind of value this thing has gotten so far. So looking at the Sky Junk, it's only gotten about 300 value, but it has been a bit of a distraction card effects in that many not longbows, but Furies have actually been sent to kill them, and they all kind of get trapped and killed by other things, which is neat. I think I'll do that for the season finals. Somebody can let me know their favorite faction, and we would order the mini and paint it for them, and have a first place written on the side or something like that. So it's a cool trophy. Promise to order the mini, and then yeah, Yeah, no, but like there would have to be limits on it. Like I'm not going to paint like a huge mammoth or like a Karl Franz. That's too much. And plus, like small minis are easy to ship around the world because a lot of you guys, aren't from the States. So, a big mini would cost quite a bit to ship as well. So it gets a little bit wild. But nonetheless, Nurgle does get some reinforcements on the middle objective. Plague Bears finally get here. And Plague Bears, of course, have great capture weight, being an infantry unit. Nurgling's able to chew on those archers. Cathay is pretty massively up in value. As far as points go, Grand Cathay is down by a little bit, but not too much. Looks like Nurgle does wrestle the middle objective, so the Plague God is going to be cackling once again. As the Junk not shooting in the best blobs. It looks like it was maybe shooting at the Cultists right there. It's a little bit hard to say. But man, oh man, those Plague Bears are so persistent. They just keep waddling and just keep going, which is so Nurgle. I'm glad that Nurgle finally has, like, a playstyle. What about a 40k model? Yeah, we can do 40k models, too. I'm not, like, the best painter in the world, but it would still be a kind of a fun thing. I'm okay. I know the basics. I know how to base paint, wash, layer, and then edge highlight. That's pretty much it. Those are the basics. So, looking around, Nurgle just kind of cackling on the objective. Cathay, ooh, maybe Cathay's going to go for some back pressure. I like this. So Cathay grabs their 2 Long Riders. They're going to be going after the Nurglings in the back and maybe sending these Peasant Spearmen to kind of jack the objective. Nurgle should be able to respond to this by just throwing more bodies on the objective here. We will see. And here they come. Nurglings pop out. In terms of banked resources, Traitor has a ton banked right now. So something with the new, funding is if you have a lot of idle units kind of standing around, you want to make sure to send them back to replenish, because Cathay is like not able to spend all of its money basically, which is something that can happen from time to time when you have like these super wide armies like this with a bunch of cheap units, especially if they don't die. Because Nurgle isn't like killing anything. They're not killing that much. So like Cathay doesn't have like units, and now you can see he's sending back his units. And this is like a big skill set that you definitely need in domination mode, is to know like when to send things back to replenish them. This is such a good stuff right here, too. These Forsaken of Nurgle are going to be blocking, like, so many units from getting to that middle objective. And Nurgle's just kind of cackling on points right now, man. They're living pretty good. The Dragon-Blooded Lord here getting a little bit trapped up, somehow taking a beating from the Cultist squad. Oh, look at this. Curse of the Slug going down from Nurgle and Poison. The Dragon-Blooded Lord landed to fight with the Longma Riders right there and is now getting punished super bad. Oh, that's not good. That could be game blouses. As Nurgle's starting to creep back up on value, despite Grand Cathay just massively outvaluing them in the beginning, which seems to be the recurring motif for Nurgle. So maybe if you're Nurgle players out there, don't be afraid if you're behind in value. You'll eventually catch up. Papa will bless. And the Dragon-Blooded Lord at 298 HP gets steel chaired by the Cultist with his little like cane or whatever he has to the fight there. And Nurgle's going to be claiming victory in game 2, tying up the series. Papa bless. So it is 1-1. Batman coming in with the Nurgle, baby. And doing Papa proud. I really think Cathay needs Terracotta Sentinels in that matchup, because they're just so good at crowd clearing like infantry. Like, you just throw a Terracotta Sentinel on Nurgle's back objective, and like it'll eventually get it for you. GG. The Curse of the Slug MLG play at the end was super awesome. Cultists of Nurgle are such a good unit. I feel like if Cultists get nerfed, Nurgle will just be like really, really kind of weak. They're kind of dependent on those guys a little bit. Yeah, GG, well played. GG. Skyjunk only 600 value. I don't know how did the Skyjunk only get 600 value, man? It wasn't like, must not have been shooting at the right targets. All right, Battle for Itza. Yeah, it was the poison plus the Curse of the Slug. Nurgle with a win in the finals, I know. Batman wasn't lying about his main, yeah. Kugath loves Papa John's, he probably does. Yeah, I've gotten food poisoning from Domino's before, so he probably likes Domino's more. All right, so Battle for Itza is going to be the next map. Man, when Cathay adds, that was a lot of value. That was, yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Nurgle has no direct counter for the Sentinel. Yeah, Terracotta Sentinels are super good. Like against Nurgle, what I like to do is go double Terracotta Sentinel with Iron Dragon. Or Miao Ying, depends on the healing. Because Miao Ying has that really good AoE, Talons of the Night. So you just like blob in the middle, Nurgle blobs, and then you just wreck their infantry with these AoE spells and just like, yeah. But I mean, like, wide shooting can certainly outvalue them, but it's not going to push them off the objectives quickly. The Skyjunk was constantly attacked by Furies. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose it was, but it used all of its ammo, give or take. So I don't know what it was shooting at. The Nurgle. Yeah, okay, so a lot of people in chat saying Nurgle meta. Okay, Nurgle has only beat Grand Cathay twice. We haven't seen Nurgle beat anyone else. So let's see what goodness is coming. Hey, look at that. 6 Sweetness coming in with the new membership. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard. Oh yeah, when I got food poisoning from Domino's, I was like literally like laying laying in a bathtub all night, just like feverishly sweating and just like had like cold water running and was just like moaning in pain. It was really bad. Harold's on a palanquin. Maybe he'll make a comeback. He's a bit of a big target. 6 Sweetness, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Your 6 Sweetness, your picture, I recognize it from like a retro game or like movie or something. What is your picture from? It's haunting me, dude. I recognize that. It's a classic. All right, so Battle for Itza is like very, very similar to like land battles, right? So shooting is good. Pretty much anything goes here. Nurgle is meta till you fight Kislev. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, the Sky Lanterns are pretty subpar, Lu Zhang. I agree. They could use a little bit of love. My suggestion for Sky Lanterns was not to buff their damage, but was to give them an aura called Overwatch support or something. I mean, you obviously come up with a more Cathay name, but the flying Sky Lanterns give +5 melee attack and +5 melee defense to units underneath them. Right? So like they have like support for ground troops. Okay. Is that pick from Dragon's Lair? I don't know. It looks so familiar, man. Yeah, Death's Head drones are pretty decent too. They got a cost reduction and an ammo increase, so that's another way Nurgle can play. What is it? I'm waiting to see the answer. If you're still here, Sweetness. Do you think Demons of Chaos will ever be added to rank? Probably not. No, it's probably going to be more of like a campaign thing. I mean, some tournaments, like Dov's tournament allows it tomorrow. Holy shit, $20! Thank you. Really appreciate that. He says, new to Total War. 150 hours in Total War Warhammer 3 now so far. Would have quit at hour 10 if it wasn't for your videos. Thanks so much. The avatar is Dirk the Daring from Dragon's Lair. I knew it was from something. Something real old and retro, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Thank you. Thank you. Dragon's Lair. It was one of those arcade games where you basically played a cartoon. I recognize their profile pic, yeah. Right on, guys. All right, so Maddie says, I knew a guy who ran Domino's chain in Minnesota. He mentioned at times that dough would spoil, and they disguise it by adding like flavors on it. Oh, that's terrible. Any thoughts on the stream schedule next week? Dude, I'm kind of a wild card on streaming. I usually stream almost every day, like around like 11 or noon Pacific time, but probably, yeah. I don't know. I don't like to have streams scheduled unless it's like a huge tournament, because then I subconsciously it stresses me out. It's really weird. But looks like it's going to be Slanesh versus Kislev. Okay, interesting. So Kislev, obviously the terrors in the night. Even with the restrictions, they're still very strong. But yeah, it's going to be double bear sled with some other shit. It's Kislev. It's a shame because I love underdog factions. That's why I love the Empire, because Empire is like okay. They're definitely on the like lower middle end of like competitive spectrum, but they're so cool, and I love playing underdog factions. And Empire is like perfect for that. The Sons of Sigmar, man fighting against the horrors of the old world. And I was hoping Kislev would be an underdog faction too, but they're just like so OP that I just don't even play them. Yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts. I'm so excited for Old World Tabletop. Something I want to do is start another YouTube channel, which is focused. It's a tabletop channel. So like I was thinking of like putting some money into a channel, like renting a space, having like a studio very similar to like tabletop like tactics and those type of things, and like doing Warhammer Fantasy battle reports when Old World comes back. If I can find enough people in my area who play, that's the problem. I don't know. We'll probably move somewhere. And figure it out. But that would be a really cool thing. Let's see. Dominic, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Saying, I delivered Pizza Hut back in the day, and thankfully they never appeared to be violating any health codes. It's good to hear, Carashell. It's good to hear. Empire's my favorite faction. They're just so cool. And when you win, it feels really rewarding, too, because they're super high micro and relatively squishy, but yeah. I'm still a Sigmarite all day, man. Sigmar's my boy. Kislev is really cool thematically, though. Like, super cool. I really like the thematics of them. You could play non-meta Kislev. Yeah, but, it is what it is. It's how badly Ice Guard kill. Ice Guard are okay. They're definitely overcosted. Ice Guard, like, the fact that they don't have armor piercing and shooting makes them a little bit haggard. So, Slanesh versus Kislev here. I would imagine it's going to be like, I don't know, Fiends. I feel like Fiends are situationally pretty good. Exalted Demonettes also can be decent, but Kislev's shooting can really take them to pieces. I would imagine that Neil Batman Freak will have like a huge shooting line. We will have to see. What about a range and accuracy boost to a unit's in a sizable radius? That would make them fill a spotting role. Oh, you're talking about the blimps. Yeah, maybe. Volkswagen is going to be so sweet. Yeah, sounds good, Brian. Where do you live, by the way? Are you here in California? I would love to have a battle report channel, though, man. Like, I love playing tabletop. Just sitting with some friends and, you know. Whenever I used to have friends over to play tabletop, I would always, like, prepare a bunch of snacks, you know. I was like the soccer mom in high school. I would get this, like, little table next to our gaming table, and it would be, like, filled with salami and crackers and, like, you know, like, waters on ice and things like that. Yeah, it was so fun. Limit war sleds to 1. Dude, I legit was thinking about it. They just are so stupid. But I don't know. Like 2 is already very limiting, so very, very limiting indeed. Fiends could be used here. I think Fiends could be solid. Demonettes maybe, but Demonettes seem like a bit of a weak unit in general. I don't even know if a Demonette will beat like a Kossar, like an armored Kossar. I don't know. All right, cool. Out by Seattle, Washington area. Very cool, very cool. Someday, man. So, looking here at the forces of Kislev, it is going to be the double Variant. No surprises. So it's a, you know, tournament with prize money. Super competitive, so. Double war sled, backed by horse archers and some winged lancers, snow leopards, Kostalton, and an ice witch of Heart of Winter. Yeah, so like you send in the war sleds, Slaanesh will cackle and swarm on top of them. Then what happens is Heart of Winter just kills the entire Slaanesh army. That can happen. That can happen. Now, looking here at Traitor's army, it is mega wide. He's kind of playing Slaanesh like how Nurgle is played, which is funny. And if I were him, I would probably just avoid open conflict against Kislev until the objectives open up and try and win on points. Herald of Slaanesh does have Pit of Shades. Pendulum is not banned anymore. Pendulum got fixed. Oh, it's a Foot Herald. Okay, wow. The Foot Herald's going to be rolling up. It does have some armor piercing, so can fight, you know, enemy characters and things like that. Bosh, we will see. Joe says, I used to be a real Empire fan, but with the whole yin and yang Cathay, I think the Empire is going to be better than Cathay, for sure. Because Empire has, like, really good cavalry. Like, Demogryphs, Knights of the Blazing Sun, Empire Knights are all quite good. They also have, like, really cost-effective, like, not cost-effective per se, but, like, good RORs, better Lord choices, I think. I think the Volkmar and Karl Franz are very, very good at what they do for a better price point. Holy shit, guys, look at this. Yeah, this is the Sprinting Dead build. This is just, like, a huge, like, look at that. That would be certainly a big one if I were to draw it. But, like, you gotta respect the sleds a little bit. You gotta pull in some, like, Seekers or some anti-large or some cav to attack them. Because look at the damage they do. Jesus, they do so much damage. I mean, these are just cheap, crappy infantry. But it's gonna be Furies. But now the sleds are gonna get away. But okay, the sleds actually took some damage, but not too much. But yeah, the Slaanesh infantry get hammered a little bit. Traitor just with the dreaded line. It's like the the legions of the Dark Prince. They're ready to go. Kislev going to be pulling in the Winged Lancers and also Rasputin on his bear. I'm surprised we didn't see some Seeker summoned. Okay, now the Furies of Slaanesh are going to be attacking into the chariots, but they take a bit of an unfortunate angle, and Batman's going to be coming in with his cav as well as his leopards and getting a pretty square charge right on these Furies on the side. But Slaanesh is starting to accrue some value, and now the rest of the Legion's going to be moving up to grab the objectives. The Herald of Slaanesh a little bit out of position. A Pit of Shades right here would be quite good against these Winged Lancers, but the Furies are getting crumped pretty bad. And the problem with Furies against the Warbear chariots is that they are, they're infantry size, so the Warbears actually kill them super quick. Balkus, love the content for years. Keep it up. Thank you for the $50. Greatly appreciate it. Dude, that is so kind of you. Thank you, thank you. And hopefully the good times will continue. Now Slaanesh moves in with his infantry, actually getting back on the value a little bit here. You can see Slaanesh able to push back some of the Kislevites, doing some good damage against the chariots. And now the Hordes of Hell are here. I mean, just tons of Haggard infantry. Heart of Winter is probably going to come down soon. I would wager... Ooh, look at this. The Ice Witch actually gets caught. Or the Frost Maiden. Yeah. She's caught here. A lot of these Marauders going to be getting their prison shanks out, their pointy arms, and trying to poke there. We will see. Heart of Winter. Oh, yeah, you better fan out. Good thing Slaanesh Marauders are pretty quick. So, they are running. They're going to be out of range of it soon. These Marauders need to pull back as well. Heart of Winter is very, very nasty. Batman Freak pulling up a little bit further once again. Objectives are just now opening up, so a bit of a shame for Slaanesh that they couldn't delay the fighting. But again, Kislev was putting a lot of pressure on them, so they kind of had to move up and fight at this point. they kind of had to pull back and fight. Armored Kossars surrounded by Marauders as well as more Marauders, and there's more Marauders on Marauders. As the Herald of Slaanesh, look how quick she is. Holy shit. 62 speed on foot. She's like almost as fast as this horse on foot. That is some creepy shit. Imagine being chased by that. That would be absolutely terrifying. Objective's going to be opening up in 11 seconds. It should be like more or less a triple cap here for Slaanesh if they're playing their cards right. We do get some Armored Kossars moving up. Hellstriders and Hellscourges going to be intercepting, but they won't be super good against armor. Pit of Shades going down here. And now the objectives are open, but Kislev does have a fair amount here, and the value is really, really even, man. Look at this, 4.7 to 5. Objective 1 should go to Slaanesh. High ground objective, nice intercept here. We do get the Hellstriders with the Hellscourges intercepting the infantry, which are Armored Kossars. 69 models, that's what she said. Now, quite a few less, down to 63. But the Swordsmen should get up there. Marauders of Slaanesh will be able to grab that. Middle objective looks like it will probably go to... It's hard to say. Yeah, there's still a fair amount of Slaaneshi infantry on there. I think Slaanesh is probably going to grab this one. We'll have to see. We'll have to see in just a moment. Now up here, Swordsman going to be capturing this pretty quick, while the Slaaneshi Cav really able to hammer home against the Armored Kossars. Traitor doing a very, very good job with this Cav on the flanks. Pushing a lot of the Kislevite forces back. There's just a wild spear unit back here as well. Look at this. Just a wild spearman and some Marauder Hellscourges. Of course, they're going to lose the Tsarguard, but they're keeping the Tsarguard from getting back to the middle point. Middle objective here is not taken by anyone yet. Here comes more Slaanesh Cav. These are anti-large. Might be able to break the leadership of these Armored Kossars. We'll see. But Slaanesh does have the double cap right now, and now the triple. So the points are going to start going. Even if Slaanesh does fall behind on value, Kislev, the pressure is really going to be on them to get these capture points. They really, really are. Professor Pone, how you doing, man? Yes, a late stream. Late by your standards. It's only 9:30 for me, so... I have to say, I really prefer late night streaming. Like, it is exponentially more enjoyable for me. I'm like awake, I feel better. It's just, I'm not an early person. Yeah. By early, I mean like noon. So, Marauders of Slaanesh, able to hold this. Couple injured Kossars here, not going to be able to take that objective. The third objective is very, very well taken. And honestly, Slaanesh probably just keeps fighting for objective 1 at this point. Just keep throwing Slaanesh bodies into the old action here. Just got to move these guys up. A little bit of a lapse in micro here. Although they're being sent back. Okay. So if you're going to send them back, it is what it is, trying to replenish the ranks. But, you know, the really cool part about Slaanesh having the 2 side objectives like this is some factions might get, like, split up and have trouble defending this objective and this one here. But, look, we can do a big smiley face. But the thing is, Slaanesh is so fast, and pretty much all their units except Marauders have Vanguard deployment. And, you know, I don't think Demonettes do either. But, so they can, like, get to these points really quickly. And as Kislev moves to get these other objectives, they can intercept them on the way. And currently, they're up by quite a bit. Granted, the middle objective, it looks like Slaanesh is actually threatening it. Kislev does have its disgusting blob here in the middle of the Light War Sleds and the Snow Leopards, as well as Kostaltin, which are doing good, but they can't be everywhere at once, right? That's the advantage of having a super wide army against a more narrow kind of blob-focused army like this. Really good control here by Traitor, sending back all his really injured units. This is like something that, if you're a Domination player, you need to be really... It's like your housekeeping, right? You need to be really on top of that. Kossovite Dervishes here are blocked up by the Hellstriders. The Sweet Sorrow is activated. And the Foot Herald seems to be doing pretty good. Foot Herald's going to be hustling back over to Objective 3. I think at this point, Slaanesh can probably abandon Objective 1. I think that Kislev has too much of a stranglehold on it. The value is really close, though. Batman is up by about 1,000 value, which isn't that big of a deal. It's good, but like you're still in the game fighting here, right? You're still going strong. But here, we just see the Herald of Slaanesh holding this, and Kislev is going to have to decide how they want to play this. I would imagine probably going for this objective here is going to be the play. Maybe drop like a Heart of Winter or something. I mean, it's less defended up here, but this one just feels farther away from me, although it looks like they're pretty much equidistant. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just depends on what you see and where your units are at. The thing is, you already have some Kossars over here coming for that objective, but the Herald of Slaanesh actually has some big armor piercing. She's going to run in there with her anime run. Yeah, she's doing the Naruto run. It's understandable, though. She's like dragging these giant claws here, but she's going to be getting in there and giving these old armored Kossars the business. Marauders of Slaanesh are pretty good at infantry traits, too. Even against armor, I mean, they're not great, but they do have a bonus for infantry, so they actually get some work done. Now, right now, Kislev is pretty behind on points. I believe if they were to get a double cap here soon, they could still win on 2 caps, but they better be careful because Slaanesh is getting to the point where they are certainly threatening to do a little bit more funny business. And now you can see with Slaanesh like sending back their injured units, they have a huge fresh surplus of these healthy units, right? That can move up and really cause quite a few problems. Down here in the low ground, Herald of Slaanesh summoning in some Furies. Really, really nice play there. Going to be using those in the Kossars with Spears. Kossars with Spears, of course, good against large units, but not going to be so great at fighting infantry-sized Furies, which actually will chew through a ton of their models and be super, super cost-effective there. But Kossars will be broken. Another Kislev unit moving in, but like you can't just send these units into the meat grinder here without some support. I think some Warbear sleds maybe need to come down here and help. Although the War sleds are actually looking really worse for wear. I would imagine they've still gotten a shit ton of value just because they're kind of broken. But the light war sled here has 200, just a casual 219 kills with, I don't even want to know. Yeah, just 2,000 value, no biggie for this like light war sled. And the other one I think is probably even worse, 256 kills and currently sitting at 2,000 value. War sleds are just super broken after the changes. Even though they got nerfed on cost, Creative Assembly didn't account for the fact that they were buffing sleds or chariots in general to help Slaanesh out, which ended up helping Kislev out, which is kind of fun. Kind of fun indeed. So Marauders just hanging out on vacation. We have a weird duel of fates over here. Just a couple of AFK units. Those guys are just like, as I would call them, the tactical reserves. And it looks like Kislev is going to be wrestling for this objective here. And now Kislev is really going to need a triple cap here. They are up by about 1,500 value, but Slaanesh is like making sure the lead doesn't get too substantial. Nice bit of shades going down right there. It goes down on all the Kossars as the Battle Hymn is popped here. So Tor's Battle Hymn and the other various prayers of Kislev are activated by Old Rasputin. I think he's in here somewhere, yeah. Fighting some of these anti-large cav. Really nice Heart of Winter as well. Heart of Winter doesn't do friendly fire damage, so it basically just, it's the motherland rising up to protect its chosen, and that will wreck most of the Slaaneshi units off this objective. And you can see it does actually lead to Batman getting almost a 2,000 gold lead, but Traitor is really winning pretty decisively on points. And Slaanesh isn't the best Helm's Deep faction, like they usually can be buckled pretty quickly, but again, they have the speed and mobility, but I think Kislev is going to need to get a triple cap. They are going to need it. We will see. Somebody in chat saying, I read the spam bot as beast cams. So like the Beastmen only fans are being spammed in chat here. Pone says, you read what you wanted to see. Oh my god. Hellstriders coming up here. Double Snow Leopard. Obviously decent fighters, but Hellstriders of Slaanesh will actually be very, very good against them. Anti-large against light armor. And more Kislevites moving on to the point. This point is actually being contested a little bit. Kislev might be able to wrestle this one. And they're also threatening the back objective as well. So on many points, Batman is threatening to take these, which is, certainly what he needs to be doing. Warbear Riders are in. Oh, yeah. The Warbears. They're so cool looking. So the Warbear Riders are going to come in and just absolutely butter up these Marauders of Slaanesh. It is going to be an absolute disaster for them. They're looking for their prize. Here they come. And boom, the big bear slaps coming in. I love the bear slaps. That is like the coolest shit ever. Hey, how's it going, Sotek? Yes, a late night tournament. So this objective probably going to go to the motherland. It looks like Kislev's going to take that one. Middle objective is actually being contested by Slaanesh. Slaanesh needs to make sure they hold one of these, man. If Kislev gets the triple cap, could be very, very problematic, right? Because it's going to be really tough to get it back from there. Heart of Winter going down once again. Going to be hitting a couple units here. Should be tickling the pickle here of these Marauder Spears. Man, very close cap as the Hell Scourges arrive with their 40-something speed, 38 speed. They do get on the point, and the objective does go to the Dark Prince. And now the Dark Prince does have a double cap. Whereas Slaanesh does lose objective number 3. We have a couple armored Kossars over there. Warbear Riders going to be drifting across, looking to hammer into the forces here. Even if they're not great against infantry, they still pack a punch. Pretty good mass. So they can certainly cause some problems. But Slaanesh is pretty sticky here. They have a lot of units just kind of hanging out. Locus of Grace going down. Gives a little bit of physical resist too. Slaanesh isn't known for their durability, but it certainly does help to have a little bit of physical resist there. Now up at the high ground objective, the heavy war sleds are kind of out of the picture. Now imagine how crappy this matchup would be if they could bring 4 war sleds like the last tournament we had. I think 2 is fair. It seems like it's still like, they're still a little broken, but it doesn't feel quite as bad. Slaanesh holding on to the point. Kislev does own 2. It's all hands on deck. They don't have much time, but there's a ton of Kislev infantry coming. There is for sure a chance here that Kislev can get this. The big thing that Batman needs to do, he needs to grab these Kossars, not shoot, and move up on the objective here, just to be safe. Slaanesh going to be getting some more reinforcements onto the point to buy a little bit of time. Guys, he's at 4,700. This is so tight right now. This is such a close game. And it looks like Kislev is slowly taking out the Slaaneshi Lord as well. So the Herald of Slaanesh is on death's bed here. As the Kossars and Cav keep rolling, in the great words of Fred Durst there. A true poet. Bit of shades going down. Doesn't really hit anything, but Slaanesh going for the back cap up top. Using their speed, they have their cav and their infantry trying to threaten this cap. Like, all they really need is 1 point. Kislev does get that point. Meanwhile, objective 3 is pretty safe. It doesn't look like there's going to be any hope for Slaanesh to get that back. Objective here, points are very, very tight. They're spending. Value lead is up for Kislev, but Slaanesh is threatening this objective pretty hard. But the Kislevite cavalry do arrive when the winged lancers arrive. And here they are. Going to be couching them lances for the motherland, and we'll be slamming into the back of these epic Mohawk boys. Now, does Slaanesh still have the capture weight? More and more cav coming in, but Kislev does have a ton of cav. But on that same note, look at this. Slaanesh is pushing into the middle, just kind of feinting. It's like watching Muhammad Ali kind of feint and back and forth. A little bit of rope and dope, luring their opponent into a false sense of comfort and then striking. So here they come. Middle objective is being threatened by the forces of the Dark Prince as well. I think if one of these objectives does get taken by Slaanesh, I think they just win. I think it would probably take too much. So Kislev really, really needs to hold the middle. Like, super, super bad. Well, a lot of infantry, though. Obviously, we saw Traitor have a ton of infantry in his army. The capture weight, I believe, is back for Kislev here. The Ice Witch or the Frostmaiden here is in a little bit of trouble, but there are some healthy Kossars and armored Kossars here, which are very, very meaty lads. And this objective, though, there's some Slaanesh forces still fighting up here. It looks like they're more or less surrounded and just kind of being circle beaten. A couple Hellstriders doing their thing, but I don't think they're going to be able to get this. Really just comes down to the middle objective at this point. Warbear sleds, I believe, were resummoned. How many kills? 288, no biggie. Just, you know, casually soloing the entire enemy army here. But the Spears try to get it, but it looks like the forces of... No, I was about to say Cathay. I was like, my brain was like thinking like Cathay and Kislev in one. I was going to say, like, how do you even mix those two words? But this is the finals, yes, but it's best of 5. So this will not be the final game regardless of the outcome. Right now, still the triple cap is in full effect. Will Slaanesh be able to pull any funny business? I think it's getting almost to the point where Kislev could win with 2 points, actually, depending on the circumstances. But this point's looking mighty juicy. Like, if you could just get some, like, Vanguard Cav, like, look how lightly defended this is. Like, a single Fury could clean off both of those units here. But, like, you're kind of running out of time to make that decision. And it looks like Slaanesh wants to keep grinding in the middle. They are leaderless. Their Herald did die earlier. Still some fighting going on up in the high ground here, but nothing terribly substantive. It looks like it's mainly just Kislev cleaning up. The value, guys, is, like, dead even, man. Look at Traitor almost coming back here in terms of value. He was down by a couple thousand at one point. So Slaanesh is like 250 points away from winning. Right now, Kislev does have the triple cap. I don't know if Slaanesh has time to get to that side objective. They would have had to have like planned that for a little bit earlier. But Kislev is going to win. Oh my god, what a match, dude. What a match. GG, well played. So Batman goes up 2-1 in the grand finals, showing that he certainly has some solid Kislevite skills. Warbear Riders, here's the thing. They have 2,000 value, 3,000 almost, pretty insane, but they were summoned twice. So they did come out twice. So on average, their value was like, what, 1,350 or something? Which is pretty damn good still. Obviously, against mass infantry, 2 chariots are going to get a ton of value. Ice Witch did good. Rasputin did good. Overall, man, that was a super tight game. 3,000 value on the Herald of Slaanesh from Traitor. That's really impressive. All right, so Batman is up 2-1. Next map, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the Broken Lake Gully. We will see what they do. It's going to be great. GG, well played. GG, well played. Cathay needs to have, like, if Cathay had a really hard-hitting infantry unit, like armor-piercing, like, assault unit, I feel like that would just help them a lot. That was a crazy game, wasn't it? Yeah, Nurgle can definitely survive Skyjunks. Slaanesh, not so much. Slaanesh just gets blasted. So 2-1 here. It is best of 5. Let me make sure the players know it's best of 5 so they don't disappear into the night. Yep, looks like they're still in there. And the map is set. We're on the Broken Lake Gully. It's a good map. And then, I don't know what map we'll do next. I almost just want to do, like, Arnheim again. When an objective is being contested, how can you tell who holds it? There's a little arrow next to it that shows if it's, like, which direction it's going. It'll, like, have a certain color. If the individual who is, like... Yeah, there's a tiny arrow that appears next to it, so you can tell who has more capture weight. That is for sure. Neil looking at the Demons of Chaos. He's eyeing them. He's giving them the side eye there. I'm really curious what his pick's going to be. All right, so let's add you. Perfect. Map is set. Good luck, have fun. I'm definitely very hopeful for the future of Total War multiplayer. I think it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good once we get all the factions in, guys. Meta's going to be so wild. Like, even if a faction is really OP, there'll be enough factions that something will counter them, right? Monty says, Turin, Professor Pone is here. Now you got to give us a couple Haggard Dawn of War games after the tournament. No, I'm going to have dinner after. Pone and I might play Dawn of War later tonight, though. He might. I'm not sure. We'll see if he's still up. I know he's got... No, maybe. I don't know, guys. I gotta eat some dinner. The wife is making an excellent dinner tonight, so Gonna spend some time with her smoking hot wife, and then I'll be back. I'll be back sometime in the next few days. I'll probably do a late night Dawn of War stream over the weekend. I don't know when. Thought on reducing income after 5 to 10 minutes on games conclude more than a trick? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's okay how it is now. I don't mind it at all. A big thing in domination mode that now that there's more funds being given to the players in bigger armies, like army management in terms of sending back injured units is really big. It's just like in Dawn of War, how you send back an injured squad to heal. Like you need to do it in this game too. Because if you don't, you're just going to not have anything in your pool to summon, and like at times. You need to be really on top of that. For me, it's almost 10 p.m. It's almost 10 p.m. I'm in California, so. Yeah, Marathi's going to be super good in this game mode. Okay, so we have Ogre Kingdoms for Batman. And what is the pick going to be here? Nurgle. Oh, Nurgle. Okay. If Traitor, we'll make a decree. If Traitor wins this game with Nurgle, I will start occasionally referring to him as the champion of the Plague God. Although right now he is. We'll give him we'll come up with some sort of a cool nickname. If he manages to defeat Ogres, which I actually think Nurgle has an okay matchup against Nurgle against Ogres after the nerfs. Like I think you can just spam Plague Bearers and swarm them and like get the objectives. Sorry guys, just having a little snack to get me through. You know what I've been addicted to lately? So there's a local farm around here that does like pistachios, but they season them with garlic, salt, and like something else. And it's just like the most addictive thing ever. I just like sit here. Like the other day, I just went and sat on my porch. It was like blazing hot. I was just sitting there, just snacking on pistachios, staring into the empty sky for like a good 30 minutes. And I was like, oh man, lost track of time there. How would you recommend handling early artillery as ogres, aka 2 little groms? You typically want to hide until the objectives open up. Yeah, just like use your speed and hide, and then you can assault when the objectives open up. And like try and play the objectives they don't have line of sight on. You know? That would be my 2 cents. And against objectives, you just want to swarm. Like if they have like sniping things, you just want to go wide and play the objectives typically. But I honestly think Nurgle has an okay matchup against Ogre Kingdoms. Like I think they have some tools here. Yeah, trail mixes. It's in the same ballpark. Man, pistachios are addictive though. At least they're good for you though. Yeah, it's not like I'm eating like M&Ms or something. Some like nasty candy. I am super hyped. I think I know exactly what he's going to bring. It's just going to be mass Plague Bearers, like mass Nurglings, Forsaken, then like a Herald or something. That's how you play it. Yeah. So it's mass Plague Bearers, double cultists. Like this is exactly what you do. And you just swarm. You just play the objectives. Just got back to Turin, say he was blazing hot. No, blazing hot. It was hot outside. Yeah, I don't smoke anything myself. I don't smoke cigarettes, anything else, because I've always had like really bad allergies, and my respiratory shit has like trolled me. So I don't really bother with anything that would make it harder to breathe. You wish, Pone. You wish. All right, so. We are in the Broken Leg Gully. I mean, it's a pretty decent Nurgle map. I mean, there's a lot of shooting. It's a shooting gallery map a little bit, but the thing is, where's my John Madden drawing tool? Where is it? Come on. Give it to me, Precious. So Nurgle has an objective right here. So basically what you do if you're Nurgle is you grab these guys and you go up here to this. And then you get on this objective with these 2 units, okay? And then the rest of them can just push up to the middle. And if your opponent doesn't guard their back objective, you just slip a couple Nurglings in there, and that's it. That's more or less the game plan. Yeah, like 1 Plague Bearer to hold your back objective, and if they like attack it with an Ogre, Plague Bearers can defeat Ogre Bulls pretty well, and then you just summon in like a Fury or something to help. Yeah, Nurgle is definitely a lot better after the patch. Like the higher starting funds. Oh man, I just had a pistachio, and now I just subconsciously like reach for another one. Like I gotta do commentary here. Any ideas on tactics for dwarves in domination? Yeah, here's what dwarves will do. Dwarves are just going to put an iron breaker right here, and then they're going to have like cannons, and then they're just going to push up for that. That's it. That's what they're going to do. Like cannon, organ gun, longbeards go here with blasting charges, and then 1 iron, like Nurglings sit here. That's it. That's what dwarves are going to do. I'm sorry, guys. I know I said I would only do that once on stream, but that was just such a perfect opportunity. I had to take it. I had to. So Nurgle's just going to be playing all 3 points. Holy shit, this is like a stampede. Looking at the old army here for Neil. Double Maneater Pistol, Ogre Bulls, Hunter on a Stonehorn. Really good choice. Stonehorn Hunter is like just wrecks Nurgle. And we do also have a Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw with some Maneater Pistols are going to be less good. Like, they're not good against Plague Bears. Like, their Plague Bears are not like an easy thing to snipe. Not an easy thing to snipe. So we will see. You stop talking about Tau opponent. I hate playing against the Tau. They're the worst. Interesting choice here of having the Cultists move up. I don't think Dwarves will be OP at all. No, they're going to be really slow, so you can like definitely like potentially punish them. Like if Dwarves are holding an objective with Ironbreakers, you just drop like a fat pit of shades on them, and then like you're gonna get some work done. Dwarves will be fine. They'll be niche, I think. But we do have the double Cultist. 2 Cultists beating on a Stonehorn could certainly do some work. For Ogres, it's very important to get your actual like army up and make sure the Nurgle army can't get on the objective. Right? They want to like be here, here, and here. But if you can line up your like Ogre chaff here and like keep them off the objective, that is like a huge value win. Nurgle wants to get on those objectives early. Yeah, they want to get on it. Now, double Cultists against Stonehorn, I think the 2 Cultists will trade okay. They probably would like a little bit of support. I also really like this Forsaken pick. Having the Forsaken sprint to the back objective to threaten that, I think is a pretty sweet play. I would imagine Nurgle will just summon like a single Plague Bearer or Nurgling to hold objective number 3. That would be my guess. Hammond, yeah. No, it's true. I definitely do not enjoy playing against Tau. One of my good friends who I just got into playing is playing Tau. But Plague Bears will get through the Noblars eventually. Ogre's just clearing out some of the scraps in the back, so they cleaned up all of the little Furies, although 1 unit of Furies does get through, and it will almost kill the Leadbelcher unit, so a little bit of a slow response here. Batman the Dark Knight needs to get these guys and move in and take down the old Chaos Furies. But the objectives have not opened up yet. Nurgle actually has some serious weight on this objective too, and they're also threatening the top. I don't know if the Forsaken will win this 2v1. I think that the Noblars plus the dual weapon bulls, oh hell yeah, dual weapon bulls will win that. But we do see a Cultist summon used here. Definitely not the best spot because the Stonehorn Hunter is just going to run away. And the Haggard, Plague Bears could have been used over here, for example, to help the Forsaken win this fight. But instead, they're just going to be waddling down. But Cultists, again, are still very good fighters. One of them in the back does get surrounded. Oh, that's going to be the Cannonball from the Stonehorn Hunter. Nice! It bombards the Nurgle forces. Very, very good stuff indeed. Now, objective's going to be opening up in about 14 seconds, give or take. Nurgling's waddling over there. And the Forsakens, man, look at the cost effectiveness of these Forsaken. If they had a little bit of support from something here, they would for sure win this. I thought the dual weapon bulls with the Noblars would be able to win that fight, but I guess I was wrong. Objective is here. It looks like Nurgle. I think the Ogres might have some. There's some Plague Bears here. We do also have Ogre Bulls, but they're going to rout off, so that's going to give probably Nurgle a pretty decent little capture weight. But we also do indeed have Noblars and Bulls here. Yeah, so I think Ogres are going to get this in just a moment. And there it is. Ogre Kingdoms do get it. Back objective here, though. Looks like the Cultist has joined the party, and Nurgle might be able to ninja this back objective. The Chungus Kingdom's going to respond with some Ogre Bulls and some dual weapons to send up there, which should be able to get it. They do have their back objective, and Nurgle needs to get their paws on these objectives like stat. For sure. They need to get them, because obviously Ogres will typically outvalue you, so you need to be getting those goodies. More and more Furies being sent in. One of them dumps on the Leadbelchers, other on the Maneater Pistols. Up on the high ground here, we have the Cultists of Nurgle, and they were able to claim victory, but probably not for long. Not with more Ogre units piling in here. I think that they're going to be paying the iron price. Nurgle's keeping the value pretty close, though. Honestly, the trades aren't too terrible for them. 1 unit of Plague Bearers is going to be dissipating. I feel like the Cultists haven't been used super effectively this game for Nurgle. But, they still have some love to give there, and Nurgle's going to be using a Stream of Corruption to clear out the chaff units. Very good usage. Might seem like overkill against the little Noblars here, but getting the units off so you can get the capture weight advantage is big. He also needs to make sure to get these Plague Bears back on the point, because he's going to lose it if he does not, or he's not going to capture it. But now Nurgle is actually threatening the cap, right? The Plague Bearer attrition has pushed many of the Ogres off the point. They still have the Herald here. It looks like the Herald is going in to do battle against the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw. I don't actually know who would win in a fight. I think the Nurgle Heralds are okay fighters. They have good melee defense, so would be an interesting duel. Another Cannonball coming in from the Hunter. That is one of his activated abilities. And the back objective here has some Plague Bears waddling towards it. Although, are they summoned? No, they're not. They're actual Plague Bears. So here they come. They will be moving on up to the objective. Objective number 1 is here, ladies and gentlemen. And the Cultist is pushed back. Stonehorn Hunter is super good. He throws his anti-large spear while he's fighting as well, which is just crazy strong. So the Cultist of Nurgle, he's going to be getting trash canned here pretty good. And yes, he does get plowed by the Stonehorn, the mighty beast of the Great Maw, able to claim victory. Nurgle threatening to take the middle objective, but so far the Ogres have had them on a 2-cap, which is not what the Nurgle forces want here in this game. Kneel, just champing it out, fighting here with his Slaughtermaster against the Herald. Plague Bears and Toads still grinding relatively efficiently. What is Nurgle going to be bringing in terms of reinforcements? We see Forsaken coming in. Nurglings probably have to stay back there. Otherwise, like, you could get backcapped by, like, a really annoying Nomplar Trapper. Something like that. Was there a random advisor? Yeah, he just pops in every now and then when he feels like it. Cultist still going up here, though. He's putting in a bit of a dent here on these Ogre Bulls. The Cultists are really hard to kill because they have passive regeneration. Those guys just kind of go all day. Stonehorn Hunter here now is going to be running into the Plague Bears of Nurgle, and he does have anti-infantry as well. That's what's like so OP about them, is that the Stonehorns, like, by themselves are appropriately costed, but if you put a Hunter on the back, it only costs like, I think it costs like 100 more than a regular Stonehorn, which is so stupid. I don't know why that is. That's another thing that Creative Assembly definitely needs to address. That is for sure. So Forsaken and Nurglings hustling in. It looks like Nurgle might have an opportunity to capture this, so I guess he had some Nurglings kind of creeping up through the trees here. And if Nurgle can, like, get in there with a little kind of cheeky triple cap, maybe they could get back in this game. Herald of Nurgle in Duel of Fates. Looks like there was a Fleshy Abundance being used on the Plague Bears here. Good to kind of heal them up and let them stay a little bit longer. And we've seen Nurgle kind of fall behind and, you know, start creeping back up in terms of value. And it looks like they are going to get this point here, which is pretty big for them. So that will give Nurgle the 2 cap, which, assuming they can hold the 2 cap the rest of the game, that would be a victory condition for them, because neither player is, like, far enough ahead where it really matters too much. There it goes, and is the point captured? Yes, it is. So there goes the Nurgle point. Stonehorn Hunter might be able to eventually clean this up. It looks like the Ogres are going to be sending in some Noblars to try and get the capture weight back. Saber Tusks should be able to finish off that Cultist, actually doing him a bit of a favor because that Cultist was forgotten about, but, you know, now he's going to get killed and go back into the pool, so it's kind of funny how that works. Sometimes when I see a unit that somebody's forgotten about on the edge of the map, I'll just leave it, because if they don't unsummon it, it's just going to be there taking up a slot the entire game, right? Which is a fun tactic. But Hunter here, still battling the old Forsaken and Nurglings, just going back and forth, whipping his hair. His horns, I guess I could say. They're such cool looking monsters. Stonehorns are so rad. Now Nurgle looks like they might be able to get the middle. It seems like the attrition is really wearing down the Chungus kingdoms. Gorgers have been brought in. Now Gorgers were the reason why Nurgle couldn't beat Ogres before, because, like, Gorgers just literally solo, like, tons of Nurgle infantry. But now that they've been nerfed a little bit, Nurgle's definitely got some more tools. Ogres are up by about 5,000 value, but the fact that Nurgle ninja'd this top objective is very, very good. But looks like it's going to be going back to the Ogres here relatively soon as a bunch of bulls pop in. We have some injured bulls here that could probably be sent back. And how many Gorgers are we seeing? Only 1 Gorger here. I still feel like spamming Gorgers against Nurgle is a good call. I would probably honestly go with, like, a Scrag triple Gorger opening against Nurgle. I still feel like they're that good against Nurgle. But, you know, a lot of people have kind of gotten away from them. And, yeah, understandably so. They got some substantial nerfs. But they got nerfed mostly in their armor piercing, too. Which, obviously, Nurgle doesn't really have much armor. So their damage output's still going to be really good. And they're unbreakable. And they can heal with Scrag. And they just bring a lot to the table. Nurgle's kind of getting that they're whooping on here. They're beating down the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw somehow. Plague Bears plus the Herald of Nurgle. He's showing Herald the Herald's certainly taking no prisoners. Power Fist of Nurgle, or excuse me, the Great Maw. Nice one right there on the Plague Bears. More Ogre Bulls pouring in from all sides, and now the Ogre Kingdoms have retaken the top objective. Obviously, the Stonehorn Hunter is like an absolute terror in the night. And here we have the Hunter moving down. It's going to be surging in. Let's use the blue drawing tool. See, look, I can draw a little arrow right there. Isn't that nice? But it's going to be moving down. Probably just leave a couple of Noblars and maybe like an Ogre Bull. This Ogre here needs to be unsummoned. These guys back here need to be unsummoned. Unsummon that, unsummon that. Like, all those really beat units that are kind of like standing broken on like the edge of the maps and things like that, they need to be unsummoned here. The Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw does get the Butcher. Really nice usage there by Neil, by the Batman. He is going to be getting healed. That is one of the craziest heals in the games when it actually goes off. It heals your vigor, so he's like fresh again. You know, obviously eating some good old meat there will heal him up and get him feeling good. But of course it also heals him a shitload, which is pretty crazy. So middle objective is being held by Nurgle. Nurgle currently is up, yeah, by a couple 100 points, by about 200. I don't see any back cap happening here, but as soon as like these Chunguses leave and go down here, we obviously have Noblars, but that's when you summon in, like, you save up like 900, summon like 2 Nurglings and like a Plague Toad, and you just go bull rush that. Because Nurglings have Vanguard deployment, so they can actually deploy like up here, like pretty high up, and then waddle over. But yeah, looks like obviously the value differential is starting to show a little bit in this battle in the middle. We see 18,000 for Batman and Traitors at about 13, which for Nurgle isn't the end of the world, but it means the Ogres are probably going to be getting some solid capture weight here. And Nurgle's going to have to start scheming some other plans. It looks like Plague Bears are coming up the middle, so there's going to be 2 more Plague Bears coming out. And man, that Butcher ability healing up the Slaughtermaster is super nice. Extra ingredients going down as well, which gives 160% power recharge. It's crazy good. You need to be in combat for that to go. And I believe Nurgle has just lost the objective. So despite Nurgle having a slight lead, the back objective is also being threatened. Really, really good play here by Batman. So he moves in with the old Ogre Bulls with dual weapons. He's able to get some nice play. And Traitor's sending in Nurglings. Nurglings might just get crumped though by dual weapons. You probably need to send Nurglings and Furies, but he's so tight on resources right now. He's trying to contest everywhere, but Nurgle had its moment in the sun, but they weren't able to wrestle that middle objective quick enough. And I think Ogres are probably just going to win from here. A very valiant attempt though. I think Nurgle has a pretty decent chance against Ogres. I would still say favored for Ogres probably 60-40. Would be my 2 cents. Like, I think that Ogres probably would win that. Maybe even 65-35. But Nurgle certainly has a fighting chance in this matchup. But, yeah. It is what it is. Back objective. Nurglings do get there. They are able to hold the objective for a moment. Are we going to see a Fury summon from Traitor? It looks like he's sending some Nurglings up to the high ground objective. But the Ogres are very aware of these shenanigans. They know that there's some shady stuff coming in. And they're able to kind of just set some Ogre boys back there, some big belly slappers, and they're going to be hanging out as Plague Bears move up in the middle objective. But the problem is, with an Ogre triple cap coming in, it will get to the point where Nurgle, who is still ahead on points, mind you, is going to have to triple cap here. Also, the Ogres are finally getting some revenge on the Nurgle Herald. He just looks so pitiful down there. Just like getting up all slowly, like, oh. As the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw does some, he's like twerking on him right there. And, Herald gonna get slapped, for sure, by these two big boys. Hey, Hammond, what did the Ogre Scorpion say to the Noblar? Sub-Zero, get Ogre here. I like that. Sub-Zero, get Ogre here. That's really good. That could be like a voice line, yeah. If like Ogres had an ability that like pulled someone into the Great Maw or something, get Ogre here. That'd be really rad. Traitor could have won if he used some, I'm not sure what that is. Exalted Plague Bears. Yeah, Exalted Plague Bears are really good in this matchup. Really, really good. Nurgle just barely holding on to this point, but a double cap would still win them the game. But like, I don't think they have time for that. It seems like the trading is going okay. I mean, the Plague Bears fight well here. But yeah, also good Fury play, shutting down the Lead Belchers in the back. But the Herald's gone now. Like, Nurgle has one of the better lores of Magic in the game, and losing that character is really going to be a huge, huge problem. They do manage to hold on to this objective here. The two Nurglings probably will outmuscle the Ogre Bulls with dual weapons eventually, and the Man-Eater Pistols, which are up here. Not too many of them, but they should. And the Traitors, Nurglings, do waddle. Still a champion of the Plague God. Playing them in the Grand Finals against Ogre Kingdoms takes some serious willpower and, pride there in the Plague God's will. But, yeah, GG well played, man. I do think some Exalted Plague Bears could have been pretty good. I love Toad Riders in this matchup. I think they're quite solid. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, is going to be winning the tournament. 3-1 in the Grand Finals. Very impressive stuff by both players. Both Traitor and Batman doing super good. What's really funny is before the Grand Finals, Batman was like, he's like, oh man, I hope I don't have to face Enticity in the Grand Finals. And then Enticity loses to Traitor, and then he's able to defeat Traitor. Crazy stuff, man. Any given Sunday, it's a new game. A lot of new faces coming into the scene and doing very well, which is super exciting. So congratulations to both these players. They'll both be winning a cash prize for their efforts, and will also be certainly climbing up quite a bit higher on the leaderboard. Batman is going to be taking over like the number 6 or 7 spot on the leaderboard right now, I think. So hopefully Batman can go update that. Nurgle Air Force can be okay against Ogres. Yeah, it's not the best thing in the world, but it can be okay. So let's make it official. Head on over to the 4-man bracket. And we will drag a Batman's name. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. Glorious, glorious technology here. I'm clearly quite talented. All right. So, let us go ahead and refresh. Batman, please go ahead and update the leaderboard. And here we have it. So heading on over to the Total War Warhammer Tournament leaderboard, we can see, yeah, look at that. Batman Freak gets a tournament win. This was one of his first tournaments, maybe. Holy shit. He went 6-0 today. Very nice. I think could have sworn he had another tournament. I'm not sure. But if he had, he would have had losses. So no, this was his first tournament today. And he gets a win. And now he's ranked number 6 on the leaderboard, which is cool because it kind of guarantees him a spot in the Grand Finals, which the Grand Finals tournament's going to have a pretty big prize pool. I'm going to be putting in quite a bit of money. Somewhere between $500 and $1,000, which for Total War is pretty big. So that'll be coming up at the end of the season, which we're currently in Season 1. I'm soon going to have some graphics that illustrate that, but Yep, that is that. So number 1, Void Lulls. Number 2, Even Star Platypus. And number 3, Xiphos. Number 4, Enticity, with only 1 loss. Here at number 5, Batman, currently 6. And Houseplant is 7. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. Taking a look at the tail of the tape, we can scroll back on down to the tournament. And you can see Neil Batman Freak with a victory over Dactor. I believe he also defeated Rigson. And Dactor and Rigson are 2 like Warhammer 2 tournament veterans. Really, really strong players. Also defeated Dante's Inferno. And then Agrun and Akuma. Man, he had to play like all the way through these brackets. Very, very impressive stuff. So the next stream, I might do a late night stream tomorrow. The lady and I are going to go to the beach tomorrow, most likely, and have a day out in town. But there will be another stream. Maybe tomorrow night when I get back. Depends on how I'm feeling, but most likely on Sunday. We'll see. Congratulations, GG, well played. Tech Elite says, yeah, I should have gone Kislev for my first draft. Hey, no worries, man. You played super well, Traitor. You defeated the Great Enticity. That is certainly no easy feat, man. That is a very, very tough opponent, and you claimed victory there, so hold your head up high. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we are done. Thank you guys for the donations and support. A lot of you guys with some huge ones tonight. I really, really appreciate it, and thank you to the new members as well. Professor Pone, yeah, you want to see where Pone is on the leaderboard? So yeah, if you guys want to like check out the scene, one sec here. So let me pull this up. You can always go to the leaderboard right now and you can search like who the top dogs are at any given time, right? So if you want to see where like Professor Pone is, you can see he's right there, number 30. You want to search, anyone really. You can find them here. Like anyone who's played in our tournament circuit is going to be here. So yeah, pretty cool, man. And for anyone who's like playing and, they're like, oh man, I'm going to just have a ton of losses on the leaderboard because I'm new. Don't worry about it because the leaderboard resets every 2 months. There will be like a Hall of Fame for each season here. So season 1, there will be like, Hall of Fame for who were the top 16. So you have a chance to get to the top of the leaderboard. Your losses aren't going to set you back. It's going to reset every couple months. So, yep, that's that. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. I'm out for tonight. And I really appreciate you all. It was a super, super fun event. We'll be back soon, all right? That's it. Adios. Do widzenia. Dobranoc. Sayonara. And that's it.